Oh boy, listener, you click play and we got a great show lined up for you. In this episode, we congratulate the Chicago Cubs on being the 2016 World Series champions. There's a new Wonder Woman trailer out. Lots of talent are jumping off superhero movies here and there. It's kind of strange. And the Defenders cast gets bigger. Plus, we take a trip to Harlem to review Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix. 13 hours of Marvel goodness on television. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Friday, November 4th, 2016.
It's the Jock and Nerd Podcast with your hosts, Anthony and Imran.
Jock and Nerd, what's up, listener? We're back. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
Oh, well, look who decided to show up. He is the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And he's the Rugboy. What's up, Rugs?
What's up, dudes? How's it going?
This is like old school. Anthony, not only is he here for the show, he's in studio for the show. We got the Rugs via the interwebs. It's taking me back to a couple of months ago.
Yesteryear?
The yesteryear.
The old days?
Of the podcast. Hey, if you are a new first-time listener,
suck a dick.
Yeah, I don't know how you stumbled on this thing, but I'm glad you did. Thanks for listening. Here's what we do. Here's what's going to happen this episode. We got a little bit of news, geek news to cover, covering comic book, TV, and movie-related stuff. And then we're going to review, finally, Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix. The entire season in one shebang.
Yeah, it's going to be a 5.5-hour episode.
None of this episode by episode bullshit. We're just going to talk about the whole thing. But before we do, we got to close out on our big Chicago storyline that if you are a regular listener.
I don't think this is just our storyline.
Well, it's become a national, global story.
It's been.
Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs for being 2016 World Series champions.
Oh, shit.
That is amazing.
Yes, it is.
It's been quite a week for you, Anthony.
That's why have I missed 2 shows because of this?
No, just the one.
Just the one? Okay.
Let's start with the series. First of all, look, a fucking amazing series. What a story.
Yeah. I mean, it was if there was any way for the Cubs to do it, it'd be coming back down 3-1.
3-1 in best of 7 series. Who the fuck does that? You almost write the other team off. And it only been done like 5 times before?
Yeah, I don't know the exact stats, but it's been like 4 or 5 times. And the last time that it was a while that the last time the Cubs, the Cubs winning World Series, but a team winning the last 2 games on the road too to win the World Series.
Damn. So then just take me through what's going through your head. Game 7. Throughout the whole thing. Tell us that story. Because the game itself
7?
was a fucking crazy. That's the craziest shit I watched.
The longest fucking game I've ever seen in my life.
Did you guys watch it?
Yes, I intentionally started at the 8th inning, not knowing that there was still an hour and a half of fucking baseball to go.
You missed.
Yeah, I fell asleep towards the end.
You started at the 8th inning? Wow, you missed a ton of drama before that.
Yeah.
I think you guys started like just the whole season because I don't know if you know, but the Cubs were actually favored to do this. They had the best team the entire season. So just the entire season, they're like, this is a fantastic team, young players, everything they're building off last season. Then you start the playoffs, and every Cub fan is just like, shit, I don't think we're going to win. Like, I don't know. It's just, you just have that like the pessimistic feeling that, they're just going to blow this. And they go through each round. Like they beat San Francisco. In San Francisco, they beat them in the 9th inning. They came back in 4 runs in the 9th to beat San Francisco, who had won 3 out of past 5 World Series.
Damn.
They beat the Dodgers, who were up 2-1, and it looked like Cubs were on their way out, and they won 3 in a row, and beat Clayton Kershaw, who's a fantastic pitcher. Then they're down 3-1 to the Indians, and they roar back to tie it. Game 7, geez, what the emotions were. It didn't hit me till like 5 o'clock, till after work, where I was like, all right, fuck, I'm nervous now.
Yeah.
I'm really nervous about this shit. I had some friends over, and I was just pacing the entire time prior to the game.
Yep. Stress drinking? Lots of stress drinking.
I think I pounded like 10 beers during the game. And I wasn't drunk at all.
Because just the adrenaline is like keeping you.
Well, yeah, because I wanted to be focused on the game.
Okay.
So I was still like, I needed something.
And they have a big lead in the middle of the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, they jump out. They're facing this guy, Corey Kluber, who just has been killing the Cubs pitching wise. And they jump out. The first player of the game, Dexter Fowler, hits a home run. So you're like, oh, fuck, yes.
Nice.
And they jump out 5-1 lead. Joe Madden, the Cubs manager, makes some very questionable pitching moves and takes out the starter too early. Kyle Hendricks brings in John Lester. They give up 2 runs. Takes out John Lester, in my opinion, too early. Brings in Chapman, who's our closer, who can throw 103 miles an hour, and he's fucking gassed.
Dude, and he looked tired.
He was gassed from the day before.
From the whole series this whole time. I mean, it's October, and he's still throwing 100-mile-an-hour pitches.
Yeah, he was hitting like 98, which is super fast. And I was like, he's fucking gassed. Like, he doesn't have it tonight. And Cleveland ties the game.
That was crazy. I took the dogs out for a walk, and I come back, and I was like, "Oh snap!"
You left? What a dick! Dude.
Look, when the dogs got to poop, they got to poop. What do you want?
You turned on the game in the 8th inning too.
The only thing that I recall from watching this game was the pitching.
Yeah,
the pitching seemed to be on another level. It really did.
Yeah.
On both teams.
Yes. Yes.
I
love seeing the pitcher and the batter every time trying to figure each other out, and it was so intense.
Wow, I'm glad you noticed.
I totally caught that. I felt that. I was like, this shit is nuts.
Postseason baseball. I mean, especially when you're getting to a game 7 of a World Series, literally every pitch is just so fucking intense. So I mean, they tie the game, and if you're a Cubs fan, you're like, God damn it, this shit is happening again. They're gonna blow this shit. They were up 5-1, and now this game is 6-6 in the going into the 9th inning. And then there's a rain delay.
Motherfucker! That was like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Motherfucking, what other game do you pause because it's raining? But it was raining really hard.
It was raining hard.
It was raining pretty hard.
A lot of Cubs fans will be like Ernie Banks or Ron Santo, or great Cubs legends, started peeing.
Really?
Let's stop to give the Cubs a chance to just relax.
But look, you can't write this tension any better at this point.
Right. Apparently, Jason Hayward, who the Cubs signed, he's the Cubs right fielder, Gold Glove player, who's underperformed this season, but that's another story. Got the team in the locker room and in the weight room and had a players-only meeting and was like just reminding them, like, hey, we're the best. Let's play like we're the fucking best. Let's forget about what happened. Play like we're the best. I feel like that
rain delay helped them.
Definitely helped them because momentum was on Cleveland's side the entire time after they tied the game. And they come back in the 8th and they get 2 more runs. And you're still like, oh, fucking all right, 2 runs. That's a little better than 1 run. Cleveland comes back in the 9th and they score a run. It's 8-7 and they're running around 2 outs. Oh my God. And you're just, I mean, I think I almost like left. I wanted to leave. Like I was like, this is unbearable right now.
And then Chapman closes it out? No, that other guy.
They bring in this guy, Carl Edwards Jr.
The guy who owns the fast food restaurant.
Right. Oh, shit. Who's this very skinny African-American kid. I mean, he is probably, I think, like 6'2" or 6'3". I might be off on the height, but he's probably 150 pounds.
Wow.
Like the kid is just skinny as fuck.
Yep.
And he's throwing like 98, and you're like, oh my God, Carl Edwards is in the game. But they take him out. Mike Montgomery, who's been pretty clutch for the Cubs, they acquired him midway through the season. He comes in, gets the last out. And what's cool about the last out is it's a little like dribbler to third. I know I'm boring all the fucking geeks out here. But who gives a fuck? Cubs
won. It's a historic moment.
Chris Bryant, who's like one of the star players for the Cubs, who's probably going to win the MVP. He's picking up the ball, and as he's picking up, I don't know if you saw the shot.
Yeah.
He's smiling. Yeah, because he's laughing almost like, oh my God, it's going to happen. We're going to win. And he fucking tosses it to Rizzo out. Rizzo pockets the ball. And
it was in his back pocket. Euphoric. You can see it in those photos.
Yeah, it's just euphoric, man. I remember picking up my roommate and I lifted him, and then all of my friends were there. We jumped on top of each other and I fell. There's video of us. I probably will post it one day, just our reaction. But it's just it didn't even set in. Like it was like, oh my
Unreal.
God, did we just win? Like you celebrated because it was like we just won, but it was like, I don't know if we should go even harder because like we just won. Like this is amazing. It's 108 years, and I know I'm only 28, so I haven't lived all of it. But you just feel that fucking pressure.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is about sports, but you feel that pressure. It was like a burden.
That's why I think remember I said I think they're going to play better not in Wrigley Field because they're young kids and the pressure's off.
That was a factor. I mean, they played like shit at Wrigley Field, and I don't know if you could feel it, but when they were in Wrigley for those 3 World Series games, it was like you could cut the tension of the night.
Too much pressure.
There was just almost too much. Like Chicago was going to explode every day.
Speaking of which, Ruggs, you know my claim so far that I've been scared that the city would erupt, implode, burn down.
Yeah, I remember that.
I got to tell you what, these Cubs fans handled themselves with pretty good demeanor. 21 arrests total, which is not bad for that night. The best thing was I was listening to the fucking Chicago police scanner all night. That shit was entertaining. That was fun. The worst was like they tore down a light post. They tore down. Someone stole the sign off of the Taco Bell. There was.
Well, I can tell you. I mean, after the game, I went to Wrigley Field.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to Wrigley Field.
But everyone was cool, right?
Everyone was awesome. You could just all it was that I saw was a massive amount of people like just descending upon Wrigley Field. They blocked off a lot of stuff, so they didn't let people like get too far in. But it was just lots of cars honking, lots of white flags. That's the Cubs thing, the white flag.
Lots of white people.
No, lots of everything.
Oh, really?
Lots of everything.
Oh, that's good.
Chicago, man.
Yeah,
you're from Chicago. Lots of high fiving random people. Everyone was just really happy and very well behaved. No one was pushing. From what this is just me. I don't know. I didn't see everything, but no one was pushing. Everyone was just high fiving. It was just the happiest thing ever.
It was not as bad as I expected.
No.
When does the anal sex start in this whole story?
Well, let's cut to the anal sex.
Well, I'm sure. What was the date that they want?
There's going to be a lot of babies in 9 months. That's for sure.
Yeah, they were saying November 2nd.
There's going to be a lot of cubby babies.
There's going to be a lot of cubby babies.
Yeah, they were saying doctors on August 2nd.
August 2nd,
which is 9 months from when they won.
You better fucking
working real
hard. You're going to be earning your
because
paycheck.
Cubs babies, I'll be all over the place. I mean, I went to the parade too today.
Okay, so let's cut to that. Today, this morning,
rally.
they had this huge rally. Now, when the Blackhawks won, they drew like 2-3 million people. We're like, what are the numbers going to be on this? Anthony, there was an estimated 5 million people at the rally. Now,
it was at the parade and rally.
Parade and rally. The city population of Chicagoland is city without the suburbs, 2.76 million. Yeah. So double the population. This also goes down as the 7th largest gathering in human history. Happened this morning in Chicago with 5 million people.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I just want to take a shot at you. This is the guy that said that esports would take over real sports.
Well, when you don't win shit for 100 years, this is what's going to happen. But, this is probably going to happen every October-ish to some extent. What
was that like? It's just surreal. I mean, it was in Grant Park, so that's like right on the lake.
It started at Wrigley Field and then went down Lakeshore Drive all the way. It was crazy.
It's just crazy. I mean, you just saw people of all ages. The streets were shut down. People were fucking. There were some cars that were sitting there, and I was like, I don't know how these cars are ever going to get out.
No,
like, people were in these cars trying to drive through. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Well, I mean, we got there like 9 a.m. I woke up at 6:45.
People were there at dawn.
Yeah, people were there like yesterday.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just crazy.
So you took off work?
Oh yeah. I took off
there.
work. I mean, my boss took off.
A lot of people weren't at work.
Where no one was
I'll tell
there.
you what. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Only me, like a schmuck.
And it wasn't like crazy. Like the only people that get crazy are like stupid high school kids that like start drinking and don't know like how to control themselves. Other than that, it wasn't crazy. Like it was just happy, man. Everyone was just happy.
It's a great story. It's a great story for just human interest, for internationally, nationally. Like,
I mean, if you hear like the stories on like sports radio and like I've lived it, like people have lived their whole generational lives and not seen this.
I saw a photo of a 108-year-old woman.
Oh my god!
And she was holding up a thing.
Like grown men, like were crying. Like people were crying. I didn't actually have any waterworks. I think I was kind of drunk. So like at that point, it was like, it wasn't happening. But like one of my coworkers was like, I just went out after the game and I saw a grown man on top of a car with champagne, just bawling, just like fucking bawling, dude. Like that's how much this meant to a lot of people, like in generations. And like, I was listening on radio as I was coming here, and I was like, there was a father on there, and he was like talking about his grandfather and his father passing down like Cubs when watching the Cubs with his dad and all this shit. And he's like, my kid will never have that burden anymore of like, oh, we suck all the time. The Cubs suck. You're a loser. You're a Cubs fan.
Could this hurt the brand of them not being the lovable losers anymore?
No, it's going to make the Cubs even huge.
Do you think they're going to be in it next year?
Yeah, that's the thing. This is why it's going to be bigger because, there won't be the same amount of. The storyline will be different. The narrative will be different.
The excitement won't be as...
It won't be, let's break the curse. It'll now be,
let's start
this team is a fucking dynasty.
Yeah, let's start the dynasty.
Because this team is, if you look at all their best players, they're all like 27 or younger. They're all super young. They're all signed to like 6-7 year contracts. This team will be like the Yankees, dude. I'm telling you, this team is going to be...
who is the credit? Is it like Theo Epstein started this 5 years ago? He kind of gutted the team, rebuilt it. Who gets the most credit for this?
Theo Epstein, because... Theo Epstein, it's going to pass around, but Theo Epstein is incidentally the guy that broke the curse for the Red Sox, who had went over like 80 years without winning the World Series. He was the architect behind that team.
Yep.
So
and then
now
he
does
it
it with the Cubs.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a fucking legend, dude. I mean, Joe Madden, the manager, Tom Ricketts, who bought the Cubs.
All of them, yeah. Everything just kind of fell into place.
Everyone, dude. Tom Ricketts at the parade said today, he goes, when I was pitching this to pitching players on coming to the Cubs, I would go to their teams. It was either Tom Ricketts or Epstein that said this. I would go to like minor league teams and colleges and be like, if you play for the Cubs and they win a World Series, not only will you live forever in Cubs history, you'll live forever in sports history.
Yeah.
You're the team that broke.
Who doesn't want to be part of that?
Oh my God.
And what a great way to pitch it.
Oh my God. And they
listen, man,
awesome.
It was like, even me as just a bystander, amazing, exciting baseball. What a story. It's so good for the city, so good for the sport. And listener, you know, we don't usually have an extended sports talk on these shows, but Jesus fuck, the Cubs won the World Series first time after
I think they estimated that
years.
They got a 25 rating on for this Game 7. Put that in comparison, the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, another huge storyline game. Golden State Warriors, 73 wins, best team in history.
Yeah.
Game 7 against Cleveland, LeBron, two best players, LeBron, Steph Curry. They got an 18 rating.
I heard it was 40 million.
40 million people watch
viewers,
this game, which
7.
is like Super Bowl level almost.
Yeah,
like
for baseball.
And for baseball, dude. Then baseball is like a fucking regional sport at this point. Like baseball, before this, I would have put baseball behind basketball, like football, basketball, then baseball.
I mean, the Cubs single-handedly
brought baseball
America's
back,
pastime back. Now, I was thinking about one thing. We have a lot of listeners not in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I bet at this point they're wondering, hey, fellas, why exactly is it called the World Series of Baseball? I don't recall our fucking team playing you guys. And you know what? I think they would have a good point. It should just be called something else.
One of our Lithuanian coworkers was like,
the National Series.
Yeah.
He was like, so did they play like any European teams or what's going on here? How is this a World Series?
Dude, why is it called the World Series, dude? I was Lithuania.
It was like the National League at one point. The American, They just had to come up with a name. But
I get it, but it's fucking funny sometimes.
It is funny. It is ironic that's called a World Series.
It's funny because of Anthony and Imran, basically, I got interested in this thing. And I watched the game. I haven't watched a baseball game in like centuries.
This was the one to watch.
But I mean, other than that, it has not impacted my life one iota. But like, I did watch the game.
Right?
I did watch it because I wanted to see the story unfold.
It's a great storyline, and we're all about stories.
You couldn't have had a better game too in terms of storyline.
Yeah, it was actually entertaining.
Yeah, it was fucking exciting. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, if the game would have been like 10-1 either way,
a blowout. Yeah,
it's not the same.
Like you couldn't have had a better game for the.
You couldn't have written like a better script.
And we love stories here at the Jock and Nerd Podcast.
You couldn't have wrote a better script.
You could not have wrote a better script. Can we all move on with our lives now until next October when they possibly do it again?
I mean, it'll never be like this. What's so unique about this is there's no storyline in the near future that'll ever be like this. This was the last. I mean, Cleveland's gone 68 years now. It'll be 69, but honestly, who gives a fuck about Cleveland? This is like Chicago, dude. This is the third biggest market. The Cubs are a national brand, a world brand.
Yeah.
It'll never, we have to wait like 50, 60 years.
That was history, man. We all
another team to experience.
We witnessed some fucking history. All right, look, we got one race down. We got one more shit show race left.
I got to throw something out there, though. I know Brett Bizdevka is one of our donors, but he wrote a nice little email saying how the Cubs were destined to lose. And all I got to say to you, buddy, with all due respect, is suck my dick.
Oh, shit.
I thought they were going to lose, too. When they lost 3, I was like,
yes. The comeback, 3-1. Listen, Brett also left us a nice iTunes review, which we'll read at the end of the show. Thanks, Brett.
When you say with all due respect, then you can throw any insult out there.
Yeah, that's the asshole clue. Don't take this personally, but fuck you.
Yeah.
Look,
tell you the truth.
With all due respect. All right, look, let's move on. We got this race out. Next week, the country may burn down, and we'll deal with that when that happens.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Let's get to the news, motherfuckers.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
I love when he says Democracy Manifest.
Democracy Manifest.
What is he talking
It's
about?
almost as good as this.
Get your hand off my penis!
That's what he's talking about.
Well, that's funny because when you say the word penis, it's always funny.
Penis, it's got the hard P.
Democracy Manifest. What is he talking about? He's getting arrested.
Yeah, he's getting arrested. This is how it works. Vote.
Yeah,
That's
what he's saying.
it's a Rug's uncle. I think that's Rugboy's uncle, right? You guys are related.
Yes, my uncle is British.
You're distant British.
Well, this guy's Australian, so there you go.
Look, listener, if you want to help out the show and send us some fun stuff to talk about and check out all the stuff we talk about, visit jockandnerd.com/contact, and you'll find links to everything there. Twitter, Facebook, a fun Facebook group where all you guys are so awesome and posting lots of fun stuff. Some of the stuff I found is what we're going to talk about. Like this, we're going to start with DCEU.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about a lot of directors and people jumping a lot of movies, and we got another one. Ladies and gentlemen, the Flash movie has lost its director.
Oh, shit.
One more time. A second time. Again.
So what does this tell you?
It tells me that Warner Brothers is fucking around with things. There's creative differences. Now, after Seth Graham, whatever, he left. The director of this little movie, Dope, Rick Famuyiwa, he signed on.
He's a black guy, huh?
He's a black guy.
I thought he was Japanese.
No, he's a black guy with a Japanese name.
Okay.
He's Blackanese. I don't know. Is that a thing? He has left the Warner Brothers.
Wu-Tang Clan is that?
He's Wu-Tang. Warner Brothers, and due to creative differences, the old quote unquote creative differences, what does this mean? Does this mean it sounds like he pitched, it says the Hollywood Reporter reported, he pitched a version of the film in line with my voice, humor, and heart. That vision was edgier than what the studio wanted, is what this article says. Now, does that mean that Warner Brothers is actually trying to lighten the tone of these movies and it was too dark for them? Or does that mean they're stupid and don't want anybody fucking with their shit unless it's what they want to do?
I think it means that they don't know what the fuck they want.
Ruggs, what do you think this means?
I think they're just being really they're hesitant on everything. And that lack of confidence does not bode well with the director.
Right.
You want somebody in your corner to make the movie. Like, it's such a crazy job to direct a film, especially something of this caliber. So when you feel like they're not behind you, you're like, why am I even doing this shit? It's too much pressure, right? So I think that's what's happening.
It's not good news.
What I don't get is whenever there's these creative differences and they like the studio isn't behind your vision, to get that role of being a director, didn't you have to tell them your vision for this movie in the initial pitch? And wasn't the studio like, yeah,
there's
we
a lot of
that.
backpedaling that goes on after they get someone signed on, and then they start fucking with you.
But they're like, oh, I like what you're doing. You're going to direct our film. And then later they're going to be like, I don't like what you're doing anymore.
But the mystery to me is why Zack Snyder gets creative control.
He's polluting their minds. But yeah, these whoever these studio execs are, and I also think if they are starting to think a little bit too much of like the international global market, and they're like, you know what, this shit doesn't have to make sense. It could be whatever, and they're gonna go see it, and they it's just our way or the highway, because we're just looking at the international money.
I don't think they have. When you say our way, though, I don't think DCWB has a way.
No,
which is why they keep pivoting off,
hemming and hawing and changing things.
If they had like a kind of an idea of what they wanted, I don't think this stuff would be happening. But I think they're just literally making it up on the fly and pivoting every time they hear something.
But I think Imran's got something there with that global market shit, because the global market is basically, we have to dumb down. We can't have complicated things in there. We can't do things that we will respond to as an audience that, it's crazy.
It's possible his version was too smart, and they were like, oh no, this is too smart. Too funny.
I would say that, because Dope is a very American movie.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of comedy in it. It's got a great kind of like an edgy style. I thought he would have worked well with this, but I don't think this is obviously this is not the way they want to go. So this movie was supposed to come out March 2018. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out March 2018.
It's crazy that everything's getting compromised because of money.
It is because of money. It's always follow the money. Here's a movie that is coming out, Wonder Woman.
Yep.
That put out a brand new second trailer. Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got to see some new stuff, some kind of the same tone as the first trailer. What'd you guys think of this trailer? Who wants to start? Anything? What'd you think?
That was fantastic. You know me. I I'm very critical with the DC right now, but I thought it looked great. I think it's very, as Bilotti says, I like the color.
Yeah.
I like that this is embracing the color. I like Themyscira.
Well, I like the difference. And Themyscira is bright and blue and green, and then it cuts to the war scenes, and it's all
I'm
monotone.
still kind of unfamiliar of what really the plot is and who the villains are.
And they don't give you too much. Yes, I like that.
But I like the shots of like old time archers with guns and like all, just the dichotomy of women and men, and there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, if you dissect it, there is a couple of good things. At first, I wasn't completely blown away. I kind of liked the first trailer better, but that was, I guess, the novelty of it being first. But the more I kind of watch this, there's a lot of fun stuff going on here. Ruggs, what are your thoughts?
I just feel like it looks like a larger scale movie than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I feel like that I thought it was going to be this kind of very small movie compared to BVS or anything like that.
It seems epic.
It seems more epic. It seems like it spans like, different worlds, and it feels like it's going to be cool. I think they, from what I've seen, I can't really say, it's only a trailer. I don't know how far they're going to go into it, but it's going to be on Thor level or probably even better than that, hopefully.
It's got kind of like a Captain America, the first Avenger period feel, which I really like. I love
But with a woman.
Right. So a couple of the neat things, like when the bullet slows down, like you imagine that's the first time she's seen a bullet. This trailer kind of tells you the story of her dodging bullets. Like that's the first time they've seen a bullet and they didn't know what it was. And so then she starts blocking more bullets with her gauntlet. I also love the little nod to the Superman movie in the alley where she blocks that bullet and he kind of catches it, which is exactly what like Chris Reeves does with Lois in the first Superman movie, in an alley, very similarly. I think it's interesting how the action looks like Zack Snyder action. Like, is it possible that they actually employed him in a way that we always wanted? Like, he consulted on the action, and it's directed by Patty Jenkins. Obviously, has there's comedy in it. It's got a different tone, but the action is still very consistent to like what we saw in Batman versus Superman.
I mean, the action was never a problem in Batman.
Yeah, that's not what we had a problem with.
No, that's true. But I like that. Like the action seems consistent, but if like that's great. Just do that part.
I mean,
could this be a great use of him?
I don't have anything negative. I don't know if he was involved. I'm sure they talked to him about stuff and how he's going to take Wonder Woman from this and put it in Justice League. But I don't have anything bad to say about this trailer. It's really good, colorful, like I said, and I like Gal Gadot. I don't know who, like, the only thing I'm kind of questioning is, like, she is so super powered. Like, she's basically Superman level.
Yeah.
And she's fighting normal men. So obviously they're going to have like a boss fight at the end.
Yeah, we don't. You kind of see, I think
who's
so.
This chick with the
there's this girl with the mask who it's, if you watch Boardwalk Empire, like it's set in that period. And this is like the prosthetics of the time. If you were scarred, so they keep showing her, but I think one of the German one of the German officers is the bad guy, because you kind of see real quick the lasso scene where she's grabbing this guy and he kind of looks like he's a monster.
Oh, and she's throwing him down.
Yeah, so I think like one of the German guys, and there's like chemical warfare, maybe that changes him.
It's got something to do with the Ares, I think.
Oh yes, rumor is that that's maybe the god of Ares in that German guy. Yeah. So
I wonder how they're going to weave that into.
Well, Ares can take the form of whoever, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a god. So now this movie comes out. When's this coming out? June next year, 2017. She looks
long from now.
It is. It's really long. They already had 2 trailers.
She
looks amazing.
She looks great.
Oh my
She's
god,
hot.
she looks great in this. So good trailer. I don't know what I like that they didn't give a lot away. There's probably going to be another trailer because there's still like
2 or 3 more.
6 months.
2 or 3 more. What? At least one more. Definitely 2. Maybe 2.
All right, let's move on to some Marvel movie news. I found this little piece of information. It regards our buddy, director Josh Trank, who has given us hours and hours of great things to talk about on our podcast. Mm-hmm. And, we talked about, will 2015 Fantastic Four, is this going to kill Josh Trank's career? How long do you have to wait before you implode like this in public in Hollywood? Well, we kind of have an answer. You got to wait about a year. Josh Trank is teaming up with Tom Hardy, who's going to star as Al Capone in the upcoming movie Fonzo, written and directed by Josh Trank.
Wow. I didn't expect him to get that kind of
like
movie.
This is all of a sudden, this is kind of like an Oscar level movie about Al Capone.
Yeah. Wow. It's the first I heard of it. So
that's all. I just thought, I was like, oh, look who's back. Little Josh Trank. So maybe, Ruggs, what do you think about this? Too soon for him?
The stakes are not that high.
No, not for Chicago Al Capone.
Al Capone, though, is a name. I mean, everyone thinks of Chicago Al Capone.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like it's got a fan base that's rabid. There's not an Al Capone website that's dedicated to Al Capone.
In Chicago, there's a couple of freaks who like follow his path and try to find the hidden tunnels under the Green Mill.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. I mean, I don't know if there's like necessarily like fans. There is fans. I think you're underestimating Al Capone. I think Al Capone is still a big deal with people.
Well, look, they did Boardwalk Empire, and Al Capone was on there. Did you even hear about it? No. It's like it's not like that. It's not that much of a big deal. Like,
I'll tell you what, though,
shitting themselves when they heard that Al Capone was going to be on Boardwalk Empire.
Tom Hardy's Al Capone sounds cool, but I'll tell you, internationally, you go anywhere around the world, you tell people you're from Chicago, they say two names. They say Michael Jordan. They say Al Capone. Still to this day.
It's weird.
That's
weird
all
that
they know.
He was that big.
He was huge, dude. Nobody bigger than Al Capone.
Who's bigger, Al Capone or El Chapo?
Oh, definitely Capone, dude. Chapo's got a way to go.
Chapo?
But he's young. He's still alive. He's got time to go. But good for Josh Trank. Get back on your feet after a year and see what happens. I mean, he got the Untouchables.
I'm surprised he got this cool of a role. I didn't think he would get to. I thought he would have.
I bet they gave him the role, and he was like, "Did you guys see my last movie? Okay, you still want to give it to me? Cool.
I'll take it.
I'll take it." So next thing we got to mention is Doctor Strange is out.
Yeah. I saw it.
Anthony, amongst all this fucking Cubs bullshit, has also already seen
Geek Boner.
the fucking Doctor Strange. This movie, I just wanted to. It opened already to 86 million internationally.
Oh, wow.
Current box office right now. The movie came out yesterday evening.
Thursday evening.
It's at 132 million worldwide.
Can I just say like two quick things?
Yes, because I still need your instant reactions, which we will all post to our Patreon.
Oh shit!
Page.
Sorry.
Whatever. Ruggs, when you see it, send me a reaction. Listener, if you want to hear it, just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Join the fan club. But Anthony, go. You've seen the movie. What do you got?
Two things. I think my instant reaction would be not great because I was so tired from the Cubs going to the field, and after the game, I got home at like 3 a.m.
Oh my God!
Being in a dark theater by myself, I see movies by myself sometimes. No big deal. Fuck off.
I see movies by myself all the time.
Yeah, no big deal.
So did Pee Wee Herman.
There you go.
I try not to sit in front of him. That's shit.
In the middle of the movie, not because it was boring me, but because I was so tired.
It happens.
I was in and out of sleep. So I missed like a good portion of the movie. But I will say that, and this will come in the review too, I have to see it again because I couldn't give a great review yet. But fucking action is, I don't know how they came up with some of this shit.
Some crazy,
trippy action where I'm like, how, who thinks of these things?
It's like MC Escher illustrations come to life.
LSD.
Yeah, and lots of drugs.
Yeah, lots of drugs.
Lakeshore Drive. No, the other one. Sorry.
Lots of drugs. Yeah, it doesn't.
That's why I got to be in a certain state to see this movie. If you know what I mean.
I would.
Hello.
I would see this movie.
I've heard that. I've heard that commentary.
It enhances the movie.
The movie is trippy. It's funny though. There's fun stuff. There's kind of that Iron Man kind of feel, but not really. I don't know. It's just a different movie.
It's different and good. Okay, shut up. Save the rest for the review. That's enough.
Okay, cool.
We are going to see. I'm going to try to see it this weekend.
I won't spoil it. There's 2 mid-end credit scenes. Stick around. There's one in the middle and one at the end.
Always stick around.
And what you told me
Marvel movie
isn't really a spoiler.
Oh, good.
Even though you fucking asshole, you tried to spoil it.
But it's not. It wasn't. I saw something on the face bags, on the Facebook, on the book face that I didn't want to. I'm trying not to get spoiled.
And then you told me, you asshole.
Because I wanted you to suffer also. Undercover asshole over here. Hello. Look, we talked last week about the Deadpool sequel, Anthony. Tim Miller walked.
I heard.
Also, due to creative differences. Guess who else walked?
Composer.
The composer of Deadpool.
Oh, shit.
Junkie XL, who also composed Batman vs. Superman with Hans Zimmer. But he wrote a whole thing on Instagram why he left. And basically, It's because he says, since it was revealed Deadpool's brilliant creative director, Tim Miller, will not be involved in the project anymore, I have undertaken some soul searching. Tim was the driving force behind Deadpool and me getting involved in this amazing project. Deadpool without Tim at the helm just does not sit right with me. And that is why I've decided not to be involved in the second chapter. He says it's a difficult decision, but wow, this is interesting. Whereas on Warner Brothers, you have executives muddling things up. Over here, you got a big rift between Ryan Reynolds and the writers.
Is that what it was?
Yes, they just didn't see eye to eye. Like, Tim Miller wanted to double the budget. He wanted to make it bigger. And Reynolds was like, whoa, look, we could deliver the same fucking thing on a little budget and make another $700 million and just make it like the first movie. And the studio was like, you know what? We're going to be with Ryan over here. Since he's more than just the actor, he is the producer. It is his baby. But I guess Tim Miller was heavily involved from the start also.
I would say Ryan Reynolds, though, is the driving force behind this.
Not according to Junkie XL. He's like, Tim Miller's gone, I'm gone.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in there, but felt like Ryan Reynolds has been pushing for this for a while.
I mean, he's been doing this for years. Ruggs, your thoughts on this?
I think it's both of them that need to be involved for it to be good. I think that it doesn't work without either of them.
Yikes. So this could negatively affect the film.
See, I didn't think Deadpool was all that great of a movie to start.
I
thought it was unique and funny and different, but as an actual movie, that movie was whatever. It was just so different for people, I think, that it was like, oh, this is so awesome.
Yeah,
we've never seen anything like this.
It was the novelty, even though we kind of have, but we haven't.
Yeah.
I said this before, but that movie was edited perfectly.
Yes.
If that wasn't assembled properly, you would have a shit show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you need to edit Ryan Reynolds down to not make him annoying.
Now, if Tim Miller was making those decisions, we could have a problem, whereas Ryan Reynolds would be like, leave all my shit in there. I'm Ryan Reynolds. These are all gold.
There's an article on Grantland that no longer exists, but Ryan Reynolds has been looking for that role to make him a superstar.
Yeah.
And people always assume that Ryan Reynolds is this superstar, but if you look at his like movies where he's the headliner,
the
box office isn't that great. It was Deadpool that got him there.
So he's
maybe
now,
his ego is like,
or he's like holding on to this thing.
Well,
he's like,
his face is covered.
Yeah.
I find Ryan Reynolds to be a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Even just to look at. Girls love him for some reason.
Girls love Ryan Reynolds.
But I'm not attracted to him, so he just comes off as annoying to me.
But his face is covered. That's a really good point. It really does make a lot of it work more digestible.
So he's just like a cartoon character with a voice.
Yes.
So then he's more palpable. He fits the character well and everything. So I think that's working for him. I think when he's the lead of a movie, people get, the movies don't do well for that reason. People find him to be grating. I feel that I don't want to watch a Ryan Reynolds movie.
No, it's choice.
He was Green Lantern. I didn't like him at all as Green Lantern.
It is choice editing. So, man, both of these Flash and Deadpool, they got
he toes the line between that. I mean, he's that funny. He was Van Wilder, so he's that funny
which
jock.
Was the same. He's the same character as Deadpool, pretty much.
Funny jock, which can annoy people.
And it's just kind of the one thing he does. Now, Tim Miller will be just fine. You know what he's working on? You guys want to know what he's moved on to?
I'm reading it as we speak.
He's developing a Sonic the Hedgehog movie for Sony. So, good choice, Tim Miller.
I don't see how that movie can be anything more than a huge satirical comedy.
I guarantee you that people will go watch that shit, though, because people love Sonic.
Yeah, it's a good time to capitalize on that.
I just don't know what kind of tone is that movie going to be?
It's got
to be ridiculous.
Yeah, or
Tails and Sonic rolling around.
Is it a dark Sonic the Hedgehog? Like
no, please. All CG. I think it's going to be CG.
Yeah, completely.
Like Ninja Turtle style.
Yeah, I can easily see just it being kind of an appealing. When movie are we going to get? Everybody.
Speaking of Sonic, when are we going to get a Mario Brothers movie?
Oh wait, we had one.
But when are we going to get the real one?
Like Bob Hoskins
and Leguizamo? Come on, and Dennis Hopper was in that, and
Dennis Hopper as fucking King Koopa.
What the fuck was Dennis Hopper doing in that movie?
When are we gonna get a Mario movie that like is now caught up to technology?
We need a Dark Knight Mario. Get Zack Snyder on it.
We need a Sonic.
Are you clamoring for a Super Mario Brothers movie?
I mean, if we're getting Sonic, Super Mario is an OG. We need that more than Sonic.
I would rather see a Zelda movie.
We get a Zelda movie.
Zelda
what about a Donkey Kong movie? Is it just going to be a gorilla rolling around, or is that already called King Kong?
Donkey Kong.
I think you rolled Donkey Kong right into the Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
movie.
I think you got to do all.
Wasn't all that shit in pixels anyways?
No, but they made Super Smash Brothers, who had like Sonic, Mario.
Oh,
you could create a whole shared universe. You had Pikachu in there.
Oh boy,
you had Zelda in Super Smash Bros.
Oh, nobody wants to see this.
Link, you had everything.
I don't need to see a Sonic movie.
Kirby was in there.
Kirby. What about Q*bert? Fuck Kirby.
Look up the Super Smash Brothers roster. That is a shared universe waiting to happen.
Yeah, but if you watch that movie with the video game Wreck-It Ralph, they're all in there.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. It's better than Pixels.
But something
Wario is in it.
Oh, Wario? Yeah, you got Wario and Super Smash.
Get it done.
I'm getting excited about Super Smash Bros. Movie.
Look, Tim Miller will give you your
shared
Sonic
universe, starting with Sonic the Hedgehog. Let me tell you, collecting all those coins.
What if he just makes Sonic like into a Deadpool clone? Sonic just runs around stabbing people.
I don't remember Sonic ever saying anything though. He just always
had a cartoon. He had a Saturday morning cartoon. Yeah, there was characters. Gold Rings.
Yeah, it was Jaleel White was the voice.
Oh shit, Urkel was the voice of Sonic. Yeah, that's great.
He was the voice for Sonic. Why? Sonic was such a cool character.
Let's get him for the movie.
He should be like Tails.
But he played it as
Was Tails a woman?
Tails. Yeah, Tails was the girl.
Oh, Tails was a girl.
Dude, I never played Sonic. I was more of a Mario guy.
Yeah. Well, Sonic was running. Mario was like hopping and hitting your head on
jumping.
blocks.
Yes,
yeah.
Jumping. I liked Italians. What can I tell you?
Donkey Kong was just smashing shit.
Donkey Kong was based off of Popeye, from what I heard. What I learned over at Trivia Geeks podcast that I'm on once a week now. I learn a lot of crazy shit.
There's a shared universe here.
All right, make it happen, Tim Miller. Look, also that episode you missed last week, Anthony, we talked about this actress Tessa something or other.
Tessa Thompson?
No, it wasn't Tessa.
Oh.
It was Teresa Miller. Whoever, some white girl's like, I want to play Talia al Ghul in Batman's movie. Just, kind of like, because she's a pretty white girl and they get whatever they want. You don't have to actually try. Well,
why would a white girl? Okay, never mind.
I'll tell you where we are going to see Talia al Ghul, though. She's just been cast as a recurring character in Arrow.
Oh, I got to catch up on that.
Aha.
Oh, Lexa Doig?
Lexa Doig, who's on Continuum. She's super hot, dude. She's great on Continuum. I love her.
You know where I saw her?
Where do you remember her from?
Jason X.
Oh, the 10th Jason. Is that the one in space?
It's the one in space.
Oh,
she's like the lead in that one. It was awful.
You know Lexa Doig, Ruggs?
No, I have to look it up.
She was in Stargate, SG-1, the 440. She's in Continuum.
A lot of sci-fi shit.
But she's really good. She was great in Continuum. She looks like she'd make a great Talia, which is crazy. They had nice Nissa, contour. And now they're going to have Talia al Ghul. Because really, the show, it should just be called fucking Batman at this point. God damn it.
What show should I catch up on?
They've all been pretty good.
Okay, I got to catch up on.
The Flash has been fun. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been solid. Arrow, I like. I don't know. I've been enjoying a lot of them. What do you think, Ruggs?
Hold on. I'm almost there.
Have you found her?
I'm masturbating.
Geek boner.
I'm masturbating.
Oh, wipe that off the microphone.
No, I just got the picture up. She was on.
Get your hand off my penis!
Oh, yeah. She was on Continuum.
Yeah, she was on Continuum. She's really good. I think it's a good casting. I'm excited to see Talia finally on the show because we got Roz, we got Nissa. We're like, just fucking get Talia al Ghul. The show's Batman anyways. It's Batman Light.
What race is Talia al Ghul?
She's supposed to be like Middle Eastern.
And white.
Combined?
Wait.
Mix? No, I think she's Middle Easternish. Or E.
Because Ra's al Ghul is Middle Eastern.
Well, he's Liam Neeson, but he's not Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern.
but the other one was Middle Eastern looking.
They used to say that was passed down, but now it's, I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good question.
Is it Raz or is it Raish?
It's whatever you want to say.
And why is his name the Demon Head? Why is that his actual name? Or is that just a title?
That's what Ra's al Ghul means.
I know.
Yeah, head of the demon, yes.
But what like, was that his birth name? Or is that
on his birth certificate? Is that on his driver's license? Is that what you're asking?
I think that's his,
that's the moniker.
Name.
Oh,
yeah.
Al Ghul. Okay.
The Al Ghuls.
It's funny that translates.
Well, we have Al Gore and they have Al Ghul.
We got Al Ghouls. Don't have the Al Ghouls over for dinner. We're going to wrap up the news section with some Marvel Netflix news, seeing as how we're going to be talking about Luke Cage in a little bit. We got some set photos, the Defenders already shooting. Set photos of Misty Knight holding a gun on Jessica Jones. That's kind of cool. So we know they're in production. Here's the most exciting thing. Here's all these people that are confirmed in the Defenders. It's pretty much everyone you think that's going to be in the movie. So they put out a little bit of footage here.
Ooh,
I'm going to play this real quick. It's real short. It's on Twitter. It's Jessica Renwick as Colleen Wing. There we go.
Who the fuck is Colleen Wing?
I'll tell you in a second. It says The Strong Survive. And he got a little cage fighting action. That's it. Those who surround us define us. Hashtag defenders. Like 2 seconds of footage. Colleen Wing is a friend of Danny Rand's, and she also knows the Kung Fu. And you see her name in Luke Cage. And we'll get to that when we talk about Luke Cage. But
who's Luke Cage?
Who's Luke Cage? Just a cat. Just Harlem's Captain America. Look, Rosario Dawson will be in the Defenders, added officially as Claire Temple. Rachel Taylor as Trish Walker.
Nice.
Scott Glenn as Stick.
Yeah.
Alden Hansen, Foggy Nelson, Carrie Ann Moss, Jerry Ogarth, Ika Darville, who played Malcolm.
Oh my God.
Will also will appear, joining Simone Missick as Misty Knight and Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page.
I have to keep my pants on.
Oh right. This is everybody is in this fucking movie. And of course we knew the show. Sorry. It's only going to be 8 episodes, which is great. And it debuts next year. We're thinking the end of next year. Possibly there's 3.
To take a shower. Oh my God.
Look, Anthony, they went back to saying Punishers are going to come out 2017. So we may be getting 3 because they filmed these things in order. They were filming Punisher. Now they're filming Defenders.
I've been away from the game for so long. This is all awesome.
I think it's actually happening. 3 Marvel shows on Netflix next year.
That would be cool.
Right?
Touch my leg right now.
No. Get what is that?
Yes. I see that you know your judo well.
Ruggs, does this get you excited for the Defenders?
I'm hoping that it's in lieu of what I saw with Luke Cage.
Yes.
I'm hoping that it's a different kind of energy of a show. That's all. The slow burn is not working for me as much. I like you've been assembling this team. We really need them to assemble to actually do something
for a long time. Look, the fact that it's 8 episodes, like I can't see them messing around. I feel like these are going to be 8 action-packed. Move the story forward.
Bring it, dude.
Yeah, move the story forward episodes. Get to the point. And as we'll discuss,
we need to get to the point. That's it for the news. I'm excited to talk about Luke Cage. Let's push on after a pause for the cause and these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Trivia Geeks, the unpredictable game show podcast, is back with a brand new season. They've got a new host, new games, and a new day and time. But that's not all. Now you can download their companion app, Triv Now, and play along in real time. Watch Carrie on YouTube as she tries to convince her partner that his Dark Knight hasn't risen in years. Listen on Diamond Club and Alpha Geek Radio, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can also follow the show on Facebook and Twitter and get all the latest updates and showtimes.
It's not just any day. It's Mr. Throwback Thursday.
Hey, this is Jamie.
And this is Bill, and we are the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast.
Do you remember when the wheels were steel and the beats were real?
We do, and we talk about it every Thursday.
You can check out Woo News, One and Done, Record of the Week, and a whole lot more.
That's Mr. Throwback Thursday, keeping it classic on iTunes, Stitcher, and at highvoltageradio.com.
And always remember, new school stale, old school fresh.
Doc and Nerd.
All right, gang, before we get to Luke Cage, Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix, I just want to mention we have a fan club. Jock and Nerd. It's the Jock and Nerd fan club, which you can find at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. You can support the show and you get fun bonus stuff. Anthony, what do they get if they sign up for our fan club?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. They get our hearty appreciation and a smack on the face.
They lose at least $1 every month.
This is what you get.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Oh, shit. That is entirely untrue, Anthony.
Is that Ghostbusters, too?
No, that's Willy Wonka.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. What you get is bonus fun audio, hours of exclusive post shows, stuff we record just for the Patreon feed, Rugboy's ringtones. You'll get our instant reactions to Doctor Strange. When we see it, we'll walk out of the theater, we'll record a thing on the phone.
If I remember.
And if you remember to stay awake during it, Rugs, don't forget to record that, okay?
I'll do it.
Okay. You'll get all of us individually. And for as low as $1 a month, you're helping the show out, helping out with expenses and hosting fees and whatnot.
Yeah, it really helps the show.
Yes. Just go to jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Let's get to Luke Cage. Imagine the music playing behind us.
I'll read it and we'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Leave this in the show that we're talking about you cutting in music.
As I fade in the music here, look, before we begin.
Oh, I can hear it.
This show's
oh my goodness.
only been out for a month. So it's a kind of a delayed review, but look, you got to give people time to binge watch this. And since we're going to spoil shit, I got to press this button.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Now, do you cut the music out when you hit that?
No, it's going to be running underneath as long as it goes. And there may be some other music cues if I'm feeling
hip-hoppy?
creative.
Okay.
Very hip-hoppy.
Yeah.
So 13 episodes, Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix.
How long did it take you guys to watch? That's always the first thing.
3 days.
3 days? What about you, Ruggs?
I watch it over like a week and a half.
Week and a half?
I actually did rewatch some of it the last 2 days, like the last episode.
Oh, okay.
How long did it take you?
It took me like 5 or 6, and this is the longest it took me.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it just it didn't hold you? It wasn't
We'll
a
get
thing?
into it. We'll
Okay.
get into it.
Look, we just got to start with saying Luke Cage, created 1972 by Archie Goodwin, John Romita Sr., and George Tuska. And
are those all white guys?
Yes, they are, which is why this Luke Cage is very different from his initial comic book counterpart, being as it was the 70s, and Luke said a lot of crazy sayings.
Blaxploitation.
It was very blaxploitation. He was very in your face, a completely different kind of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
He makes this Luke Cage seem like a very conservative black man.
For sure.
But 13 episodes, every episode titled after a Gang Starr song. Showrun and directed by the incredible Chio Hodari Coker. Let's start with the cast.
Should we start with the cast, or should we start with just an initial thought on the show?
Okay, since you saw it most recently,
yes.
Why don't you start us off?
Nothing.
Yeah, that never means anything.
Why don't you try to remember what you thought about the show overall once it ended?
I got so much shit getting crammed into this little skull of mine that I can't remember or hold on to anything.
Do a quick.
All I remember is my quick thoughts is I thought everybody acted well and everybody was cast well, pretty much. I just don't think that enough interesting stuff happened. That was very riveting. I think it was kind of like, all right, let's get through this part, and why is this one taking so long? Why is this being dragged out? I felt like there was a lot of things being overextended or decompressed, and a little brevity would have helped a little bit.
All right, Anthony.
Still thought the show was solid. It's my least favorite of the Netflix stuff so far. I think, like Rugboy, I think the casting was great, but I just don't think the script was there for this. And I think, and we'll get into this more, but I think after episode 6 or 7, when Cottonmouth dies, and the real villain shows up, I think the show gets very much less interesting.
I agree with a lot of what you guys think. I liked it better than you. I'll put it up higher. It just purely because the fucking music, the vibe, the atmosphere for this thing for me personally, connect like 90s hip hop and awesome funk music and everything from Nina Simone to Marvin Gaye and the style and to bring Harlem to life. Like this, I connected with that. This was like old school hip hop superhero show, and I was digging a lot of it. I'll put it up there with like the first season of Daredevil. Like I liked it better than Jessica Jones.
No way,
ultimately. And
you liked it better than Jessica Jones.
Yes, but it's
bro.
because of the themes. It's because of what they were trying to talk about. It really is because of the fucking music.
I was going to say, I don't know if you.
I mean, Imran, but it gets to a point where it gets to be a cliche show.
I'll agree. I'll agree with in the sense that the first half of the season was really tight. It was a little bit slow build up to get to Luke Cage, but the first 6 or 7 episodes, I loved all that. This show, again, like all the other shows, the third act drags. It totally meanders. It slows everything down. They kind of don't know how to wrap it up, and I think that's because of 13 episodes. But this is the same with all 4 of these series. The same thing has happened.
I think the weakest link on the whole show was Shades.
Really, I love Theo Rossi as Shades.
Oh, I thought he was her. I thought he was a horrible actor, and the fact that he becomes the focus for a while. It really just destroyed the show. The guy who played Cottonmouth was amazing.
He was great. Yes. Marshala Ali. Yes.
The whole political intrigue and the sisters and stuff that was okay. Some of the stuff from the The flashbacks was cool, but I feel like that it didn't gel together into a crescendo. It kind of just fizzles out, especially after he dies. Cottonmouth dies, the whole show dies.
I think Diamondback was a little bit of a misstep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're gonna get into Diamondback and Diamondback for me is what kills the show.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because the show at that point, Cottonmouth being like the villain towards Luke Cage and them fighting for Harlem, like it meant something. It was Harlem was on the line. Once Cottonmouth gets in there, it's just a revenge.
Oh, you mean
line.
Diamondback?
Diamondback. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Once fucking snakes and shit.
They're both snakes.
When Diamondback gets in there and it's just a revenge brother storyline, like that stuff's not that interesting anymore. And for me, we had talked about this leading into the show, but all the Black Lives Matter and the cops and all that stuff. I think when you really think about how they kind of incorporated that into the show, I think they didn't handle it all that well, because I felt like it was almost tacked on. Because if you think about what, like, the police blotter with Luke Cage hitting the cops is great, like them like
the dashboard cam,
the dashboard cam, and them like finding him and just profiling people, like that was all good. But then when you think about it, they're like doing this rally. Like, think about, like, this is where I think the show kind of falls apart, is the script. Like, think about what they were actually doing. Alfre Woodard's hosting this rally.
Yeah. Anti-Luke Cage rally.
Well, it's anti, like, the cops are arresting us because of Luke Cage.
Right.
So what we should do is we should arm the cops with Judas bullets to kill Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No,
what are you talking about at this point?
The whole Judas bullet.
Yeah, the message got fucked.
That is not at all what we were. And, like, the thing is, too, is, like, if you want to make this show like a little bit more political, have the cops be white. You had a lot of black cops arresting black people. Then that's just a black on black thing. That's not you're not hitting the message of the Black Lives Matter
Some
stuff.
of the thugs were white, which I thought was interesting on Diamondback's team and on
the message was fucked. Like, why are we arming? Why is she rallying to arm the cops?
Because they had to get to the stupid Judas bullets, because it's the only thing that's going to stop Cage. Like, that was it was forced. That was a forced plot.
Yeah, I thought that was shoehorned in there. I thought, like, I don't think they had this planned in there. And then once this all became relevant, which it is, then they were like, okay, we're making a show about a black man that's bulletproof. This would be great to tack on, but we didn't think this through.
Well, the problem is it starts out real, like, heavy hitting, and then it gets really, really comic booky in the last act, which those two don't kind of combine.
I don't mind that if it makes the show better. I think that it could have used a shot in the arm at that point and given it another dimension, because we had already explored everything about Harlem and its intricacies kind of in the beginning. And so we can't go back to that well every time. Otherwise, it's going to get draining. So we need to introduce new things. But I felt like Diamondback was not the thing to introduce.
Yeah.
And I think killing off Cottonmouth, I never found out why they called him Cottonmouth. Did you remember why?
They did, because
it was the flashback.
Yeah, in the flashback when he was a kid, he had fucked up teeth.
Oh, that's right.
They would make fun of him by calling him Cottonmouth.
That's why I
felt like that wasn't even good enough payoff either.
No.
I love the first half of this series, just the way.
Oh yeah, the first half is really good for sure. Here's the thing. I'll say some good stuff about this, but
okay.
The thing that also really bothers me is that Luke Cage in the comics is from Harlem, but for some odd reason, he's not from Harlem.
He's not from Harlem in this one.
So he's from, like, Alabama,
Georgia.
Yeah. So, like, the whole thing just falls flat for me that he's now the king of Harlem and rallying all these people when the dude has been sitting in Harlem for 5 months. Like, how are people rallying behind this guy and, like, he represents us?
Right, and he's carrying on Pop's legacy. I'm like, the dude just started working.
If anything, Cottonmouth is fucking Harlem, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't get that. If
Pops was Harlem.
Yeah, if you made Luke Cage from Harlem, a lot of this stuff would be better. Just that simple change.
That's a great point.
They changed a lot.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is he from Georgia? Like, I understand, like, he was playing like this very polite Southern guy, Southern African American man, and that works. But he could be a Harlem guy and still be the same guy.
Well, they were painting him as a guy who's not, he's on the run. It's not his city. He doesn't want to get involved.
But then if it's not his city, why is the city rallying around this guy?
I don't know. Because
Harlem is so Harlem.
He helped out a couple of people.
What
randomly.
I gathered from this show is that Harlem is Harlem.
They look out for themselves.
They go look out for each other.
Yeah.
So some outsider being like, that's the guy we're rallying behind. Like, no.
But he is a bulletproof black man, and I think that maybe gives him the edge in terms of people's minds.
You've been to Harlem, right?
Many times.
What? You think? I don't know. Do you think they would adopt an outsider immediately?
I mean, look,
like he's
Harlem
the guy.
is different than what you think it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's very mixed nowadays. I think back in the day, it used to be a lot more kind of isolated than it was. I was just talking from a dude from Harlem yesterday, and there is a pride in being from Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge pride. That's your neighborhood, but I don't really think nowadays it's as isolationist as it was.
Okay.
I think it's a lot more open to people and whatever. But I do think that with this whole cop thing, though, that there is a sense of mistrust in the city, especially the cops and all that stuff. So I think that there is that tension there. There's a huge amount of tension there because of the racial profile and the stop and frisk and all that shit. So there's a palpable thing there.
They didn't really deal with that on the show, like the cops being.
They did do the stop and frisk stuff
when they were searching for him.
Yeah, when they were searching for him.
But it really wasn't the people against the cops so much.
It was weird.
Yeah,
it was a weird.
But I mean, there is an element of the crime that just didn't seem to be real enough to me, because there is an element of dangerousness that I didn't think it was there. I think it was far too controlled.
I mean, it was definitely more of a character study, and it was kind of like, they said we want to make this The Wire, and I saw that in the sense that it was crime and politics and community and just how they interweave, and one has to kind of depend on the other. And I mean, if you want to talk standout performances in terms of villains, fucking Alfre Woodard, this Mariah Dillard is so different from the comic books and so much better than in the comic books. In the comic books, she's a large black woman, kind of one note, who just likes to smash things. Alfre Woodard was amazing. The moment she killed Cottonmouth was so organic to me. Like, she just flipped. He said the wrong thing. She's not a killer, but at that moment.
No, that's the thing. She is a killer.
But she kind of is, and it's in her.
She was the one that should have been groomed from the start.
Yes, yes. But
Cottonmouth was the pacifist.
He wanted to be a musician, right, which is also added, but it was a nice touch.
That was a cool touch.
And he's the one who shoots Uncle Pete in the flashback, who was raping. And that moment where he's like, "You wanted it," and she just flips out. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I did not see her fucking killing Cottonmouth. That was amazing.
No, that totally worked. I was sad to see Cottonmouth.
I know.
It
was
a big moment. Like, it worked because you saw the flashback and you saw that Cottonmouth was always a pacifist and the chief should have been the one that was groomed. So that worked in the moment, but for the overall arc of the story, losing Cottonmouth was huge.
But she's now a great villain. Like, it ends up with her and like Shades as her right hand man.
She's a great villain in that moment, but then she gets marginalized crazy style by fucking Diamondback. Diamondback comes in and it's automatically she's groveling at Diamondback's feet. I think she loses steam again. The whole show fucking losing steam
at the end. It really does.
Not at the end.
Oh, just
right in the middle. Right
thing.
When Diamondback shows up with the fucking Judas bullets. Which, by the way, Alfre Woodard's character prior to the Judas bullets goes to Cottonmouth. So bullets don't work. Poison him. Drown him. She lists all these fucking reasons how you can kill him, and they don't even touch that shit.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even touch that shit. Like, you have to think about, like, the way the script was written, and it's like, why would you even mention that if that's not going to be a thing? Like, you could have killed Luke Cage plenty of other ways without bringing in this fucking Deus Ex Machina.
Well, you can't boil him in acid. We know that doesn't work, that was the moment when the show got a little too comic booky, is when they're boiling him in acid.
Well, I disagree in that it doesn't, like Rugboy said, I don't think it being comic booky is a thing. I think it was the fact that they just...
It changed
on a dime.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't woven in like the comic booky stuff. It was just like, all right, we got to get to comic book shit now. We got to get to the little...
Rugs, who else did you like cast-wise that stood out for you?
Well, I said I didn't like Shades. I like Cottonmouth a lot. I think, of course, Claire Temple was great.
What about Misty? Simone
Misty
Missick
Knight was great. Misty Knight was actually really, really good. And
she could hold her own show, possibly, like kind of maybe, like a Luke Cage show.
Maybe I think that I liked what they were doing with her in the beginning, and then they stopped doing it. where she was kind of like inceptioning all this shit. Like,
let me talk about that. They did it towards the end once, but so I love seeing her kind of in her comic book costume with the big fro. They do a nod to her eventually getting like a cybernetic arm given to her by Tony Stark in episode 11 when she gets shot in the arm. And, you know, you at first you're like, I think you have to cut the arm off, but they're just fucking with you. But was this her power? It was like that TV show where that girl remembers everything and she can step back in her memories and walk around the scene, but she was doing it with photos, with memories.
Yeah, it was like she could just imagine what would have happened if she had all the evidence.
So not a superpower, but just a really good fucking imagination memory.
She was good. I mean, she could hold her own with Luke Cage. She was
a lot of strong women in this too.
She was a strong woman, but here's where I'm going to poke holes in this shit.
Yeah.
She was well acted, very good, very well casted. But if you think about her arc, she sucks too because she has this partner. She's supposed to be this awesome detective. She never notices that her fucking partner is working for the crime.
Scarf.
Yeah, Scarf. She never notices that. It's all underneath her nose. She never notices any of that shit. Then
she doesn't question it either.
She doesn't question it.
Yeah.
And then she finds out, and she has to find out from other people. It's not like if they would have written it where she was like kind of on like
she figured it out.
She kind of figured it out before everybody.
Yeah.
Then she'd be an awesome detective. So she's demarginalized with that. Then at the end, she has this weird arc where she's like, the system doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So she has that arc. Okay. Maybe it might make sense why she'd become a superhero. But then think about it. She held a witness in custody.
That was a stupid move.
She held
Candace.
Yeah, that was terrible.
She held a witness.
Yeah.
She didn't go by the book. She held a witness and didn't tell anybody. That witness dies. How is that the system's fault that you went out of your way to not report this witness, and then because she was not protected by the police, she died because of use? How is that the system's fault? This is another example of how the script is like. I don't think they really had their fucking T's crossed and their I's
at the end. But her boss does tell her. She goes, "No, it wasn't the system. You didn't trust the system. That's what you know."
So then she quits.
Yeah. Does she quit at the end? Because she shows up. Fucking Mariah is running Harlem's Paradise at the end, and Misty Knight shows up in her fucking afro. Did she quit the force? Is she a vigilante now?
That's the way I got it interpreted.
Oh, okay.
The way they got there was like, instead of it being smooth, they like fucking stumbled their way to that point.
No, the ending, dude, they did not know how to end it. It was the last episode was really just a recap of the whole series. If you think about it, like they repeated the themes over a lot. Like they kept, like you said, Ruggs, they kept banging home the same message over and over again. And Luke's like, look, I got to do what's right.
What do we think of Luke Cage?
I liked Coulter's performance. It's very interesting again how he is a conservative black guy, like as Luke Cage. That to me is the most fascinating. But I love his stoicism. I love that he doesn't want to be called the N-word. I thought he did a great job.
I think that's great because I feel like that's a very intellectual way of approaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
That status, because I feel like it's very cool to like perpetuate these things, but it's even more responsible to not do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it shows a lot of responsibility on his part, where he's like, okay, I'm going to be somebody that people are going to look at. I have to at least
set an example,
promote something that is in everyone's best interest. So,
and it was cool how like he was well read, like the references to black culture from the music to all the writers they talked about were Harlem writers that I had never heard about, but apparently these are prominent black writers, and I kind of love the intellectual discussion. I liked the origin episode, even with the flashbacks in the prison, where he had the worst looking fake beard I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh my God, that was bad. But great origin. Now it did take. It was definitely like we said, all these shows, they wait till the very end to put the character a hero.
No,
this one, episode 4,
he was a hero.
He's out in the TV. I'm Luke Cage. I'm not for hire yet, but he kept saying, I'm not hired. Pay me. You can't hire me. Yeah. You know, stuff like that.
They kept going with the narrative that he's Harlem's Captain America.
Captain America.
Actually, that worked for me because, like Rugboy said, he had the depth to him of, you know, being, doing the right thing and like having like not falling to cultural norms is okay, and he's like captain. Like he's the guy. I can see him being the guy on the Defenders that is like the moral compass.
He sticks to his morals no matter what. Not only Captain America, but I loved how Pops is kind of like the Uncle Ben, Pa Kent of his superhero journey. Even his saying, like, never backwards, always forward, is kind of like your great power comes great responsibility.
That's the mantra, yeah.
You know, I liked that, but again, this would work so much more if fucking Luke Cage was from Harlem, dude.
I guess you're right.
And Pops was mentoring him from the start.
Didn't bother me until you just mentioned it earlier.
If Pops
in the show.
was Pops mentored Cottonmouth, which is awesome.
Yes.
But if he would have mentored Luke Cage as well as a kid, how much more would that resonate? Luke Cage knew this asshole for 5 months. Come on, dude. I know people can make an impact on you, but if it was a lifetime of Harlem, that would mean so much more.
That's a big pill to swallow right there.
There's also a lot of...
And just adopting the swear jar. Like, dude, you knew the guy for 5 months. You knew him for 5 months, dude. You're not carrying this guy's legacy.
Pops left an indelible mark.
There's lots of guys in Harlem that could
Lucas.
take that legacy from you.
There was a lot of... I also thought there was a lot of Christ parallels with the Judas bullet and a couple of other things. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, he was like, Luke Cage was like Harlem's savior.
Yes, he's Harlem's savior. I loved all the references to the greater Marvel universe. I mean, from the guy selling the bootleg of The Incident, like 5 years later, it's still a thing. But they mentioned Frank Castle, Jessica Jones, Claire goes, I know a lawyer.
You had Trish Walker doing
Trish Talk.
One of the shows.
They mentioned Fisk.
Some of those were really handled well. The Trish Walker one was very organic.
It makes perfect sense.
She has a radio show, and they would be talking about this.
There was a CrossFit mention in one. I thought that was fun.
I liked
Turk is in it.
I liked that this show, Luke Cage was out in the public because Daredevil, he's like hiding. Jessica Jones, she doesn't want to be a hero, but Luke Cage is like, yeah, I'm a hero. Like, right? Not even telling you people he's a hero, but he just people know who he is.
And yet he continues to be like, I'm not a hero. I'm just doing.
How do you like how they handled Luke Cage as a superhero, though?
Like his powers?
Yeah, like how did you like the way they cinematically displayed what he could do? Were you wowed by it? Were you underwhelmed? Like, how did you feel about it?
I think it's always going to be tough when you have a guy that's just basically unbreakable. So I liked the initial part of the fist getting broken. But after a while, the bullets firing off of him, I felt like that got tired.
It's very Superman, though, if you think about it. Him crushing the guns, standing there, taking bullets, kind of old school Superman who would just kind of walk around and just gently push people because he knows he can hurt them.
Yeah.
It kind of made sense, ultimately, that this is how we... And then of course, you got to have the Judas bullet. Here's another thing I didn't like about the Judas bullet. 3 episodes it takes him on. It takes fucking forever. Like, the whole back half of the show, like... But then that standoff fucking drags. Like episode 10, I wrote in my notes, I was like meandering. I wrote down.
What standoff was this one?
The standoff where they were in.
They're in the club.
I think it's where they're in the club. Yes. Yeah. Just that standoff took forever. It was like a bunch of episodes, and he's out for 3 episodes. And it's like the same thing happens in Jessica Jones, where the lead character, and then they focus on like the side characters for an episode. But it's clearly padding. Why does it have to be 13 episodes?
And the thing that also makes it kind of anticlimactic is that they're in the same places all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like
the same set, like same location.
Yeah, you're like in the club, or you're at Pops, or you're somewhere on the street, or you're in a prison. Those are the 3 scenes that you get.
Pretty much. Did anybody else, was Scarf being dirty? Did that catch anybody by surprise, or were you was that telegraphed? Were you able to call
that wasn't really that much of a big deal for me. There's always saw dirty cop in every one of these.
That's true.
There's always a rat.
And when he was in Seagate, I was hoping we would get to see some of the other fuckers in Seagate.
The biggest surprise was seeing Cottonmouth die.
Yeah, that was a good twist, but I don't think the show recovers from that point is the problem.
So let me just ask you, Imran.
Yeah.
You don't think the show recovers, but you think this is like the second best show you've seen out of Netflix?
Yes.
You're basing this purely off of how you felt about the music.
I'm telling you, dude, like my time in New York where I was all about hip hop, it took me back to being in New York when I was in college in the 90s. And I really appreciated the care for the soundtrack, for the performances, the style of the show, the fashion of the show. And really, you take out the last 3 episodes, like the first 6-7 episodes are solid. Like
I wish they had that level of care for the script. Is what I'm saying.
well, yeah. That like
I mean, I did enjoy aspects of it a lot. I just don't think it's as cohesive as a whole. That's all.
Yeah, it's not. That's the thing. It's not cohesive, and I think again it falls to the 13 episode. Marvel just cannot figure out how 13 episodes are going to work. Like there are literally episodes and scenes in here that take entirely too long.
The reason why
and that they're literally just spinning their wheels.
The reason why I think this succeeds more is that because of the topical nature of what they're talking about, like with the Trayvon Martin thing, like when everyone is walking around wearing hoodies with bullets in it to throw everyone off, like they have balls, like they were saying the N-word. That surprised me right away when they were just saying the N-word in the show. I was like, oh shit, this is different. The attack on Crispus Attucks, the whole beginning of the show is solid, and it just had me pumped for a while. And then, even though none of these shows can recover the third act, so like that puts it on an even keel with the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also,
I think that Daredevil has the fight scenes.
Yeah, well, you can't be
action to really to pull you forward. And Jessica Jones had the intrigue there, that it was very dark, and it had this intrigue, that mystery that was unfolding, and all of these things. How are they going to get this guy that's ungettable, like this great enemy that they fucking killed for no apparent reason?
They kill all the good ones.
And I think what Jessica Jones has over this, in my opinion, obviously you think this Luke Cage is better, but Jessica Jones had the allegories to like PTSD, and rape, and trauma, and I think they handled those very well. Whereas this was,
and it has Luke Cage in it.
Yeah, and it has Luke Cage in it. Well, this had the allegories to like the Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, but I think they stumbled on all that stuff.
Maybe too heavy-handed in some spots.
Not even too heavy-handed. Just I don't think they thought it through, and just fucking Diamondback. Oh my god, I agree. Theo Rossi's character, like, what is? I don't understand. He had no depth to him whatsoever the entire show. He's just standing there in glasses, and then he makes out with Alfre Woodard. That was fucking weird. And then
he was horrible.
The kiss was awkward.
The kiss was awkward. But Diamondback, dude, like. This show is so real at this point. And then he comes in like soliloquying the fucking Bible, and like this guy's not a real person, dude. No one grows up like this. Like no one acts like this, dude. Like, come on, man.
I also thought it was odd though, where Luke is not like the non-violent one, yet in the flashbacks, it's all about them sparring and fighting each other, and like that was the thing, was brother against brother.
But you didn't like the Rocky ending?
It was the you got him, Rock.
Yeah, my ring is outside.
That costume, though, that needed some work. I mean, I get it. It looks like the comic book, but wow.
That costume needed some work for sure.
But I thought it was interesting was Theo Rossi. Shades was always like, yo, you got a plan? And Diamondback's like, oh, man, I'm going freestyle off the dough. Like, Diamondback comes in for no reason, has no plan. What does he even want? You don't really know. He's just in there. You don't know what his end game is. Like, I didn't get it.
I felt like it was also too convenient that like it happens to be Luke Cage's brother that is now the king of Harlem, yet he's the one running Harlem from behind the scenes. But again, these guys grew up in Georgia. So how the fuck did he end up in Harlem? Luke Cage ends up in Harlem. Like, that's too much of a coincidence.
It really is.
Like, how is this dude running Harlem, but he's from Georgia too? And no one knows who he is. And he was he running Harlem to one day wait for Luke Cage to get to Harlem to then get his revenge?
What was the point of what was Diamondback's fucking plan?
That's what I'm saying with this plot, man. Like, think about the script and think about like he's running Harlem to wait for Luke Cage to get to Harlem so then he can get revenge on his brother, or was he watching from afar waiting for Luke Cage to appear somewhere so then he could chase him? Like, what? If these dudes were from Harlem, a lot of this would make more sense. And Diamondback just sucked. I hated Diamondback. He's the worst villain so far we've had. He might be actually, Nobu is pretty bad. But Diamondback is also pretty ugly.
Nobu had less time.
Nobu didn't speak, which was actually better because Diamondback.
I mean, this show has like one of the best villains and one of the worst villains we've seen.
Yeah, man. Marhasala. Is that his name?
Podmouth. Even
so good.
Mariah Dillard, I think she was fucking scary.
And like his villainy is like so relatable. It's like, not that you would become this villain, but like your parents pushing you, or your aunts or your uncles pushing you into a career that you never wanted. Like, you could relate to like families from Eastern countries.
They all want you to be doctors.
They want you to be a fucking doctor, and they don't.
Whatever that means.
And you have this talent, and they're like, shut that fucking talent down.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby, dude.
Yeah,
you need a career.
That's something they added.
That's a real thing that's relatable.
Yeah, it wasn't in the comic books. They added that whole side to Cottonmouth. Which I thought it worked really good, and it worked with the music. Ruggs, let me ask you this: the Method Man cameo, right? Method Man plays Method Man in the show. So does that mean in this universe, the Wu-Tang exists in the Marvel universe?
Because Wu-Tang always exists.
Yes, in the MCU. Think about that. That's deep cuts right there. Like the Wu-Tang exists as of which is perfect for them.
Robert Downey Jr. says to Hawkeye before he picks him up, here we go, Legolas or something like that. So they've always done the pop culture stuff.
Oh yeah, they do have always been. But Method Man's there. I was like, wait a minute, that means he's in the MCU. What's going on? I love that. That was a great moment. He's like, PLO's my jam.
Well, so is Macy Gray, but then I realized that's that
was the Spider-Man universe. Yeah. Macy Gray's like, what the shit am I doing here? Singing.
You love that stuff, right? Doesn't that immediately date the film though?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, no one cares about Macy Gray ever again.
No.
When you rewatch Spider-Man, you're like,
Macy
kids
Gray.
are like, Macy Gray?
Macy who?
They don't even know that bitch's name.
Was that Living Color when they did the Macy Gray thing with the muff?
I think so, because her hair looked like that.
Yeah. I got to find that clip.
What else did we like? Misty Knight, I thought, it's kind of like the Jim Gordon of the show a little bit.
Some shittier detective.
But she knew she got to work with him, and but
she was high,
and she bangs Luke Cage.
Yeah, right off the bat. And the whole coffee thing and his corny lines that I thought were great.
I like the coffee. You want to go get some coffee, and then it's just banging.
Oh, and he's like, I heard Cuban is the most robust roast. And she's like, that's the corniest thing you've ever said. Rosario Dawson, though, she's believable. She makes anything believable. Like she's there, and you buy that she's dipping her.
She's the Coulson. Except not Coulson.
Yeah.
Not acted the same, but she's the link.
Here's my question, though. When they were boiling him in acid and she had to cut through him, she had gloves that don't melt in acid somehow. Her gloved hand was in the acid. Nothing happened.
Oh, you're so nitpicky, dude.
I noticed stupid shit like that.
I didn't notice that at all. That doctor, though.
Oh, yeah.
He was so...
Bernstein.
He was so comic booky. He was so over the top. You meet that guy, and you're like, this guy is... just not a real person ever.
No, he was not good. But at the end, we find out Bernstein has Willis Stryker in the hospital.
Yeah, he's going to experiment.
Because in the comic books, I believe Luke Cage has a brother who turns into somebody named Coldfire through experiment. So they may be doing that. The whole Reva thing was interesting too. It got him past Reva. So he can now be open to a relationship with Claire, I guess. But the fact that she knew about the Fight Club, she was lying to him. What'd you guys think about that? All that, the prison flashback and the Reva stuff.
I don't know if Rugboy's going to speak or not. He keeps opening his mouth and then
what
closing.
Are you watching? You're watching the muff, Macy Gray muff?
Yeah. It's not funny. I remember it to be funny. But
on second thought, it's not funny.
It's Marlon Wayans being Macy Gray and singing the whole song.
Yeah.
It's the opening to the MTV Movie Awards. Anyway, so you're talking about the prison shit.
Yes.
I actually like that. That was a very strong part of the movie, actually. I like that whole dynamic. Reva, selling him out, I was like, oh, that was a tough one there. But, because the whole time that he's in Jessica Jones.
That's his whole motivation.
Yeah, that's his whole motivation in the photo, and that stuff gets, repurposed for this. And then when you find out that she sold him out and she was lying to him,
that was messed up.
You get douche chills.
Yeah. Although Prison Fight Club was pretty awesome.
I think they could have done more with that.
Yeah.
They could have done more of the Mandingo kind of allegory of the white guy has these black men fighting for entertainment.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see a little bit more of maybe some of the experiments that were happening, and maybe they had an opportunity there. That they had this fucking dude that was experimenting on these prisoners, and they could have been enemies for Luke Cage, and
we would have seen more powered villains. Almost, they could have introduced more
people
from
his past. Yeah, that would have not just been his revenge-seeking brother. The best thing to come out of the flashback prison episode for me is him getting in the old Luke Cage gear, looking in the mirror.
That was
being
great.
Like,
You
I
look-
look, you look.
He's like, you look like a damn fool.
You look like a damn
He's got the
fool.
tiara, the gauntlet, the yellow shirt, the chain. I was like, yeah. Oh, yeah, that looks horrible.
The
That would
blue
never
jeans,
work.
or the blue pants, whatever. Oh my god, he looked. But see, why couldn't they just keep?
They
Luke
did-
Cage is in a hoodie the entire show.
Yeah.
Why can't he just wear like a yellow hoodie?
He had like a yellowish
gold mustard
shirt in the beginning, a little bit, but then
Like,
they
just give the guy that. Like, why don't they don't embrace the Netflix stuff? Is weird. They don't embrace like the comic booky stuff when it's so easy. Like you could just put him in a yellow shirt, dude.
But all the time, and it gets shot up, and then he's gonna find another yellow shirt.
I mean, fucking Daredevil wears the same
He
red
does.
outfit the entire
That's a
show.
that's a good point. That's a good point. But the fact
Like yellow could be his thing. Like he just loves yellow. Loves wearing gold and yellow.
it's his color.
Yeah, it's
It
just
brings
his color.
out his eyes.
instead they made it a hoodie. Like now he's
Well, but the hoodie analogy was for Trayvon Martin. Was
Yes.
for that. That's why the hoodie was important, and it became like a symbol.
Make it a fucking hoodie that's yellow.
Look, man, I loved there was fucking references to hip hop stuff that you guys probably didn't get that I
No,
loved.
I like D Nice being the DJ.
D Nice was the DJ. D Nice is this dude from like 30 years ago, and I was like, "Where's D Nice been?" He's DJing at one point, and Luke refers to thugs as Plug 1 and Plug 2, which are nicknames from guys from De La Soul. The best is episode 9 is titled "Dwick," which is a song from Gangstar. They all are. But in that one, Misty Knight, when she's getting interrogated, they have that line where she's like, "Lemonade was a popular drink." And the guy goes, "It still is." That is a direct line from the Gangstar song Dwick. That goes, "Lemonade was a popular drink and it still is. I got more props and stunts than Bruce Willis." And I was like, right on. They did the song from the fucking, they did the line from the song. I love all that shit. Except then they did the syringe down the throat, which was kind of disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like when they do that. They did the eyeball last time,
They did
remember?
the
In Jessica
eyeball, yeah.
Jones?
Oh yeah.
And then they dip him in acid.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: the show has very well acted. Like I said earlier, a lot of, Mahershala Ali, Luke, Mike Coulter, Simone Mystic, like they all do well. Rosario Dawson,
Great cast.
Alfre Woodard. I mean, it's a very good cast. They had stuff there, and for whatever reason, they pivoted off that stuff and went in another direction that I just
Because it's just
and
too
that's
long.
why for me the show. Granted, 5 days is not a long time, but for me, usually I finish this shit in like 2-3 days, like a day or two. But I just wasn't riveted to keep
You weren't-
watching.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I finished it because I want to finish it. But
I know what you
didn't.
mean.
I wasn't like I have to watch.
There wasn't that
episode.
thing there pushing you, making you
I
push
mean,
play.
You guys are gonna kill me for saying this, but like I'll watch Gotham and want to watch the next episode more.
But that's a different. That's for a different reason, though. You're like, wow, how could this get any fucking worse?
And
I
that's
can't
a
wait.
fucking terrible show. But what does that tell you?
Well, but
It tells you that they move shit along so fast at a pace that maybe that's not the answer.
No, but is this an issue with the way these shows are structured? Being that it's not week to week on network, it's all at once, and they know.
I think this is the. Did I tell you about this? There was an article on. I think it might have been Birth Movies Death or IO9, one of the two. Whereas this is a symptom of actually the TV in general.
Yes,
is that instead of writing cohesive episodes that tell a story in one episode and that you get something out of, they're writing now for the binge watching audience. So like Walking Dead is a very big example of this, but a lot of the Netflix stuff,
yeah,
it's made so that there's some sort of clickbait where you can just continue. But if you think about that episode as a whole, it was just spinning its wheels.
Well, I mean, they do that
It's just
at
for
the
shock
end of the
value.
third episode. You know, Cottonmouth brings the building down.
It's decompression.
Yeah.
You take something that you can do in 1 or 2 episodes and you stretch it out to 3 or 4. Yeah.
And that's what happened at the towards the end of the series. But is that because they're all contracted for 13 episodes and they're padding it out? Whereas network television, you don't write all of it at once. You need to keep it kind of self-contained. This is like a long movie, but
I think
it falls apart.
the 13 episode stuff, I think it's obviously contracted, so they have to do 13. And I think they rush these things a little bit. And they, unlike network TV where they film an episode, not everything's filmed right away.
Right.
They kind of pivot and react to things. This might be a drawback to like the Netflix style, is that they have to film all of this stuff right away and turn it around real quick. So they don't have enough time maybe to think about like what individual episodes and what storylines will make sense.
I think it's just a minor tweaking that has to happen. Like, I don't think they should just scrap the way they're doing it because I think it does work. I mean, if you think about Game of Thrones and you think about these series that we really like Walking Dead and all of these, like Breaking Bad especially, they had this like seasonal like transformation of the character that, you know, especially with Breaking Bad, you saw, you know, the guy go from being this teacher to being this like horrible guy, or this guy that was lying to his family, and all the depths that he would go to. But everything was like incremental.
Yeah.
But it was very well paced. Like 2 or 3 episodes would get you a certain distance.
Yeah.
And then another 3 episodes will get you even further. And by the time you're at the end, you're at a wholly completely different place with this guy than you were in the beginning. And if you look at Luke Cage, like Harlem still, you know, got a kingpin. It's a different kingpin. You know, he dealt with his brother, but he wasn't even the guy who ultimately stopped Cottonmouth. You know, there was not that satisfaction there.
Yeah.
So there was like, where did we really get with Luke Cage? Like, he was hated by everybody, and then he redeemed himself.
And he was loved, and then people.
But he was loved from the beginning, though. He was loved from that part when he was in the church talking about Pops. People loved him then.
He had the thing with Luke Cage is he had, I think this is the spinning its wheels and decompression. He was loved in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was hated because Cottonmouth was like having people robbed and say it's Luke Cage's fault. He was loved again.
Then he was framed again.
Then he was framed. Then he was loved again. So you had 5 times.
I thought it was awkward when the last episode, when he's fighting Diamondback in the street and people are chanting Luke, 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 and the cops are there with their guns drawn on Luke with the Judas bullets. Like, what about... Clearly, Diamondback's the bad guy. Like, why are you just stopping Diamondback? And everyone is like, Luke, Luke. Like, then he could have just walked away, Willis, and nobody would have done shit. It was just weird.
Yeah. Also, I think a symptom of these Netflix shows is, like Rugboy was saying, these awesome shows, these characters go into a different place by the end.
Yeah.
But then you watch these Netflix shows, and I love them, but like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, you know going in that this is a superhero show.
Yeah.
It's they're all origin stories.
Yes.
And like
yes,
an origin story in a movie, like it already kind of sucks because you just want to see the hero.
Yeah.
But it takes 2 hours. These shows,
it's like 4 episodes of origin.
13 hours of origin.
13, yeah.
I mean, look at the end of Daredevil. He doesn't get the suit till the end of Daredevil.
Yeah.
End of Jessica Jones. She doesn't become a hero for hire or a hero until someone is like, hey, Jessica, there's people calling for your help now. Like that ends in the 13th episode. Even Luke Cage is like, he's hero, but hasn't fully become his hero until the end. So when you're waiting 13 hours for what you were originally intending on watching, that kind of sucks.
Well, you're going to have to wait 13 hours to get to your Iron Fist too. But that's why I always like the second of superhero movies, because the origin bullshit is usually out of the way.
Have you ever watched Fargo?
Yeah, that's the TV show.
The TV show is like a great example of kind of like writing for an entire season.
Okay, yeah.
Because they know at the end of that season, they're moving along to a completely different story. They're going to scrap
and
go to the next.
It's like an anthology per season. Right?
Yes. So it's like 1 season anthology. They'll do 1 season telling about characters, and then they're going to move on. So by the end of that season, all of these characters are completely different or dead. You know, one or the other. And all of the things that were happening get resolved. And you really feel like you've gotten this really big movie that's like, you know, a bunch of episodes long.
Yeah.
Like 10, I think it's like 10 or 12 episodes long.
I got to watch that. I heard it's good.
And it's fucking incredible. It does move a little slow, but I mean, if you're watching this shit, it's the same thing. There's no superheroes in it. But
Anthony, you're right. The problem is like they got to set up the main guy. They got to set up the supporting people. They got to set up the bad guys. They got to set up Pops. Like it's a lot. Sometimes it's like Claire just pops up and gives you exposition to move the thing along.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot to set up, but I think you have 13 episodes. Like, you can do this a little bit more efficiently.
Hey, did anybody else think when Pops got killed that maybe the bullet bounced off Luke and fucking hit Pops?
I don't know if that might have been a thing.
I was like, oh shit, did it just bounce off of him and kill him because of him, which would have been even worse, but they never addressed that.
They didn't even address that.
They didn't address that. No, they didn't.
I love the scene, though, after where Cottonmouth, the guy was like, fucking, I killed him, and, you know, just a victim.
That guy should have gotten killed, right?
He did.
He did.
Cottonmouth threw him off a roof.
Yeah, remember? Because he's like, I didn't tell you.
Awesome.
I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
I love.
Oh yeah. I confused him with someone else.
The depth to Cottonmouth, man.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
He's not just a villain. Like, he's got a heart.
He'll beat the fuck out of you, and then just with the Biggie Smalls painting in the background. Like, I love just the color.
They switched it out to a Basquiat at the end.
Was it Basquiat? So it tells you something. I think you're right, because basically it turns to like a grotesque abstract painting reflecting like Mariah Dillard's psyche, possibly at the end.
She's all screwed up.
I fucking love. I think Mariah could give Wilson Fisk a run for his money.
Yeah, if they wouldn't. The thing about this show too that kind of sucked. I liked Cottonmouth, but the villains overall sucked. Even Cottonmouth, in terms of like, they never gave these villains any like real credibility. Like, every time Cottonmouth would get started, they would pull the rug out from under.
Yeah,
and I know that was kind of like an illusion, or like part of it's because he's not actually a villain. Like, he never really had the heart for this, and that made it a little bit more digestible. But still, like, they never gave any of these villains, other than fucking Diamondback, who sucked dick, any real like weight. Like, this guy can actually be a threat.
I mean, they could have ended like episode 6 where it ends, where he finally Cottonmouth gets arrested. I was like, this would be a great ending. I was like, now what? This is a perfect ending for the show. Like, it kind of got resolved. Luke Cage is out. Cottonmouth's in jail. I would have been happy there. And then it just kept going. And the next minute, Cottonmouth's, of course, he's out of jail.
Right.
He's worked the deal and he's out of jail. I mean, overall, another solid effort, obviously, from Marvel on Netflix.
I would give it, like, if we're going to give it a grade.
Yes.
What would you give it? You give it like an A?
I would give it an A-.
Damn.
Wow.
I would give it like maybe a B.
I would probably go like a B-, C+ effort.
Wow. Yeah. I would go B- with you.
Like, anytime you combine hip hop and comics, you got me. What can I say? That's all. Like,
if they would have thrown Spider-Man in there,
I know that would have been it.
Yeah. I love hip hop too, but I mean, the thing is, that alone is not going to be able to sway me that Method Man or whoever is in there, chilling.
I love Method Man, and then Sway from Sirius XM is on there. Sway is awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, listen, like, this is a good start. But I'm just worried about these Marvel shows being underwhelming all the time.
Well,
like, if it's like, this is Marvel we're talking about. We're talking about Disney money.
So I want to mention one thing before we talk about kind of like what's the future of Marvel is kind of who we can thank for the way Luke Cage is now. Like we said in the beginning, in the 70s, he was an embarrassing stereotype. He was a blaxploitation character. So the dude we want to thank is Brian Michael Bendis, people, because he's kind of brought Luke Cage back and made him this version of Luke Cage that we see on the television. Here's why. In 1981, he picked up Marvel Team Up Annual 4. Now, Marvel Team Up was the book where they took C-list superheroes and they just teamed them up with Spider-Man so that people would be introduced to Spider-Man. This issue has a very interesting set of heroes pairing with Spider-Man. He's joined with Moon Knight, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Power Man, and the villain is the Purple Man. So it's almost like, like they were seeing the Netflix shows in the beginning, but this got his imagination. So Bendis starts writing Ultimate Spider-Man in 2000. Then he moves on to Alias, which is the Jessica Jones book. And he's like, who can I bring in? Who would work good in this world? And he asked his editors, he's like, can I use Power Man? Can I use Luke Cage? He's just become a fan. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Like, nobody gave a shit about Power Man. But this is where he starts to write him as a conservative dude, not the crazy blaxploitation, phrase spouting Luke Cage from the 70s. This is the modern version. And Bendis introduces him in New Warriors. Jessica Jones has a baby with Luke. They have a relationship. And now he was in New Avengers and he became a main part of the event, one of the Avengers teams. But really, I thought it was interesting how Bendis brought back Luke Cage from kind of obscurity and 70s cheese.
Wouldn't it have been cool if like Luke Cage was more like you had black people in this show calling him like an Uncle Tom, and like he was the one that like united the police with the community.
He
did it, but he didn't. There wasn't enough.
I mean, it was ballsy, but that would really been, they would have been pushing it.
I also think that the relationship with Jessica Jones is interesting too, because that's like crossing borders and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And crossing over stereotypes. And he ultimately has to be with Jessica Jones, and you don't see him pining for her at one bit, or even like thinking about her one bit.
Yeah, but he had a relationship with Night Nurse too. Oh, I love they called her Night Nurse. The one guy's like, get Night Nurse some help over here. I scored Night Nurse.
But I mean, there should be some kind of a nod to that. No,
they might have
that he kind of has a thing for Jessica Jones.
I don't know if they nodded that he had a thing, but
they said her name.
They said something.
Yeah, but that was that was really it. I mean, at the end of that show, he's a fugitive too. Like his bar blew up, and then he was on the run.
No, he just left.
Oh, he left
because he doesn't want anyone to find out who he is.
Right.
So at the end of this show,
at the end of this show,
the police just arrest him.
They Georgia comes back and they're like, you still owe us time. Look, we know you're innocent, but you technically broke out of jail. You owe us time, so he's going back to jail.
Well, that didn't make sense either. Not the part that he gets arrested, but like the police were just like, all right, you're innocent. No, there is actually a dash cam of him throwing a police officer.
But he explained the context. And
you can just explain the context to a policeman.
Explain the context.
You know, there's context here.
He was
framed.
You
can never put no. He wasn't framed.
They were after him because Diamondback was punching people and made it look like Luke.
Right.
He was framed.
You still can't put your hands on a cop, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to just get off of it by sitting in the.
That was a weird thing, right?
Yeah, they just dropped it.
He monologued his way out of that at the end of the show. Where remember they're all standing around and he's like, "I do what's right. I don't care, who it's for. I'm always going to do the right thing."
I'm telling you, man, when you look at this script, it's not fucking cohesive.
No.
They
had a good first half.
Just for me, and I'm not putting your opinion down. I'm just saying
acting, I see what you're saying.
Acting and like tone and like in environment and just like the fluff around like having hip hop and like this awesome Harlem thing. Like it doesn't resonate with me because I never was in Harlem.
Yeah.
I'm not as big a hip hop fan for you. So that's just not enough for me to be like, yeah, this show is fucking amazing.
It brought in a lot of people who normally wouldn't watch these too because of the music and the guys involved. So
Twitter loved this show.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking about the white people.
The white people, not the racist white people who were tweeting, "What is this? Why is there so many black people on this show?"
Those people are stupid.
No, they're amazing.
So I guess at some point, like Matt Murdock must have to show up to bail him out of jail. Maybe that's the beginning of the Defenders.
I mean, that's an easy
right? Yeah, it's an easy way in.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this now. Being that Daredevil kind of dealt with crime, gentrification, we said Jessica Jones deals with rape, PTSD. This obviously deals with community, police, Black Lives Matter. How the fuck is Iron Fist, a story about a billionaire white guy who does kung fu better than the Asian people who taught him kung fu? How does that even stand a chance to be relevant up with these? Like, they can't just do a straight. What is the message in Iron Fist?
I think you got to lean right into that. I think that's what you got to do. I think you got to just point that out. Like, okay, this is a
how dare you do this? And
you're an outsider.
Appropriate our culture and whatever. You're an outsider.
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, that's an easy.
That's a hard follow up to like in terms of relevance, social relevance, following these shows.
I just don't know enough about Iron Fist, and I haven't heard anything. So they're
well,
going to
look,
do something.
I think that what you do is see, like, part of me, like, I want Shang-Chi to be in this show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he is.
Weren't there rumors? I don't know.
But they do have, they do have some other people in the show that are, the supporting characters. So they could be that voice, where Bruce Lee was the guy who kind of brought the culture and all of this mysticism and all of this stuff with him over to us. And we were exposed to it through his lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there could be an opportunity there to kind of, okay, we got that lens from that time, that era in the 60s or whatever.
Right.
Or in
70s.
Now, what about now? What about now? What's the lens now?
That's an interesting
so because we have a whole different outlook on Asian culture. Like
that's true.
It's anime, it's Pokemon, it's video games, all of that's Japanese. And all of that is, we got like, John Woo, that's Chinese. We got all of that stuff that we're into. So all of this culture is coming over fast. There's kids listening to K-pop now that are just, that's a thing, dude.
It is a thing.
Wow.
All right. So we can we're living in a new era of this stuff being part of just American culture.
Which is crazy because they love absorbing our culture, and that's all you see is them buying jeans and drinking Coca-Cola, and they love the movies, obviously.
All I want from Iron Fist is for him not to get the costume at the last episode.
How about the second to last episode? But
he's running around in his pajamas.
But I don't know how they're going to make that costume work, because that was going to look the most ridiculous yellow and green bandana over the head thing yet.
It would.
I think if they somehow work it into a traditional garb,
yes,
they could nod to it.
Muted colors, maybe,
and then maybe he could fashion something that
brighten it up.
No, that's more tactical for whatever purposes.
It'd also be cool down the line. We get a Heroes for Hire series. You put the two of them together.
They did hint at like Luke Cage like taking money, for stuff, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
But then he also goes, "Oh, hire me, pay me." He's like, "You want me to do something? Pay me." So like. They were toying with the idea. I also loved, you said, who's Colleen Wing? In the last episode, Claire Temple sees a flyer for a self-defense class on a post, and Colleen Wing's name's on there, and she takes one of the fucking things off. So
I did like Claire Temple, her introduction with all she's been through in the shows where like someone tries to mug her and she just chases the fucking mugger down and beats his ass.
Dude, she's badass. She beat up a bunch of guys in this show.
Yeah, that was good.
So good stuff. They can keep making these.
What did you rate it? A minus?
A minus.
Okay. I won't push you too hard on that. It's not. I won't. It doesn't upset me like when you say Batman v Superman is a 7.
Yes, look, I've acknowledged that it has third act issues. They all do, and
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, but the shit that's solid, I thought was really solid.
The shit they do well is really good.
Yeah, I love this cast.
The shit they don't do well for me is too glaring to ignore. That's just my.
It's almost two extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of it, but there's some things I just can't get my head around. So I'm conflicted.
Look, we only got a couple months, and then we can watch Iron Fist and see what that's all about, and then possibly a Punisher, and then the Defenders. Man, the Defenders is going to be like watching the Avengers. Like that shit has got to be epic. Hopefully, they can pull it off.
Yeah. I just question how much of a budget they really have for this stuff. Like, cause
to put all those people in there.
Not that, but like, there's got to be a badass villain.
Well, they saved a lot of money on this show. I'll tell you what. I don't think they spent a lot of money on special effects, except for just stuff blowing off his body.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that they really.
No, like you said, Ruggs. There was like 5 sets, and mostly bullets and shooting.
People going through walls.
Fake walls. Like no real heavy. Maybe when they're flying, when they're getting hit and they're flying around, that's about it.
When they're flying around?
I mean, like flying through the air, like the over-exaggerated flying through the air when you get hit. But that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just the choreography, all that stuff. I think it wasn't as inventive as it could have been.
I mean, we said that you're going to have that problem where it's going to get repetitive. I didn't think it got that repetitive because he didn't really fight that much. Like, he fought and would take him breaks. So when he did... you're like, oh, cool. We get to see something cool, like Crispus Attucks, like in the beginning. But then the bullet takes him out for like 3 episodes. You're like, really? He's still down?
Where they're going to have to spend the budget besides Defenders is if Iron Fist, because he's got
a glowing hand.
He's got a glowing hand, and like he fights like dragons and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know how they're going to do
I can't wait to see some mystical kung fu shit. All right. Good stuff, guys. Any final thoughts? I think we're good.
I think that Marvel should keep their eye on Fargo and Game of Thrones.
Good idea.
And some of those other shows, like Westworld.
Yeah.
And they got to shoot for that.
In terms of pacing.
They got to just shoot for that kind of quality level. Like they're just doing stuff that is remarkable to look at and to experience. And they can do that with these characters if they want to. But I think that they're lagging a little bit in these, especially when you binge watch it.
Yeah.
Tires you out.
I thought this was a little more uplifting, though, also than the other shows. A little brighter, a little more hopeful, which I also enjoyed.
I still am excited to see him interact with everyone.
He's great with other people, too. That's the thing. It's like you can't wait to see him, like what he's going to do.
Well, and right now you have 3 different. I mean, you have Matt Murdock, who kind of enjoys beating people up on the side.
Yeah.
And, like, is this Catholic, but then likes enjoy, like he's this weird thing. And then Jessica Jones is like
fucking binge
sarcastic,
drinking, sarcastic.
Yeah, like basically like wisecracking person that doesn't care about shit. And then Luke Cage is this like Captain America,
calm, cool, collected.
Yeah, so I wonder how Iron Fist fits into all that. Iron Fist has got to be a fucking weird.
Well, they set him up as a good leader.
Luke Cage, yeah,
and he's out in the public, you know, and he's not hiding in the shadows.
Luke Cage has got to be the leader.
Yeah,
he's got to be the guy that rallies.
Everyone's gonna look for him.
Well, he's got that personality that you would follow.
Absolutely,
he's Captain America,
charming motherfucker. Yeah. All right, look, let's close out. I got a iTunes review from our buddy Brett Zofka. Brett in Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland, what a wonderful place to live.
You almost had it, Cleveland. Sorry.
There's gifs of. Are you familiar with who Joakim Noah is?
Basketball player, Bulls.
There's gifs of him now with like a Cubs hat. People like edited a Cubs hat on him.
Oh no!
Because like maybe 7 years ago, he was in a press conference and he was like, "Man, I ain't never heard of." The Bulls were playing Cleveland, and Cleveland always gives Joakim Noah shit because he's like, "Man, I ain't never heard of nobody going on vacation to Cleveland." I mean, do you like Cleveland? Do you like it here? He just basically tore down the city in one quote.
Damn.
I mean,
well, you know what I think about Cleveland? I think they should change their icon from Chief Wahoo to Chief Rugboy.
Oh shit!
My face on there.
I agree. He almost looks like Rugboy.
Entirely different thing. Oh my God.
And probably less red.
Cleveland.
They're getting a lot of shit on Twitter now about their
Cleveland has the most racist caricature ever.
How are they?
Ever.
So I brought this up
Worse
last
than
episode.
The Redskins.
How are they able, if the Redskins got in trouble, how are they able to get away?
I don't know how they get away with that.
If you just cut that feather off and knock some teeth out, it just looks like me.
It does. It looks just like Rugboy. It just lightened the shade of pink, three shades.
I mean, there was controversy when they were playing Toronto.
Yeah.
One of the people in Toronto, some activists was like suing like that Cleveland shouldn't be able to play these games with that name, because like Toronto has this code where you can't promote like racist culture or something like that.
Wow.
And they were like, dude, what, you're letting the Cleveland Indians play with a red-faced caricature.
Yeah.
They're called the Indians on this shit.
Funny story. My high school, when I was going to high school, our mascot was the Indians.
They had to change it probably, right?
I drove by there recently. They are now the Wolves. Oh, shit. Even them were like,
I thought they changed it to the Pakistani.
No, they should have. The fucking towel heads.
They're not Indian.
They're not Indians. We're Pakis. Sorry, we're the Niles West Pakis. Yeah. Oh my God, that would be great.
It's funny how like Notre Dame Fighting Irish will never get any shit because like Irish people just eat that shit up.
Yeah, they are drunk fucking
leprechauns.
They're drunk leprechauns who like to beat people
like
up.
Native
They're like,
Americans,
make it more racist.
Yeah, this is not racist enough, actually.
The Native Americans will never fucking embrace that shit.
Give them a bottle of whiskey.
Look, they've gotten fucked for a long time. I don't blame them for opposing. Anyways, back to this review from Brett in Cleveland.
So Brett in Cleveland.
5 stars. Advanced training in geekification. Tuning into Jock and Nerd is a great way to stay on top of all things relevant and interesting in the world of superhero stuff. Fun banter, always thoughtful, and surprisingly has made my long commute one of the best parts of my day. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Thank you, Brett. And thanks he sent a thing saying congratulations for the Cubs winning. Nice. This is very nice of him. If you guys want to leave us a review, just visit jockandnerd.com/review. Takes you to our iTunes page. Just leave a rating, a reviewing. And also, I got to mention to the listener, based on a suggestion from Brett, I've set up another way to support the show. If you just want to make like a one-time, non-recurring thing, you don't want to get locked in the whole Patreon, I get it. There's a PayPal donate button on jockandnerd.com, on the website, on our fan club page.
I need drinking money.
There's multiple ways to support the show. You want to drop us whatever you want, pick Patreon. You haven't drunken enough from your fucking Cubs celebrations, Anthony? Your blood sugar level should be...
Actually, yeah, $5 a pop will do.
$5 right? will do, yes.
I actually had one beer the entire day today.
Really? I was wondering if you were drinking at the rally during the day drinking.
I don't think that would have been smart. I wanted to, but in hindsight...
How many people were?
All the high school kids were fucked up.
Oh, shit. The high school
kids are the worst.
You hear that, high school kids? That's where you're going to get fucked up.
Amateur hour.
It's so bad.
You go to the World Series rally to get fucked up.
We were in line waiting to get searched, and like these high school kids are peeing in bottles next to us. I'm like, God
oh, my God.
You guys are the worst.
See, that's
I did get stopped by a few high school girls that were like, hey, my friend thinks you're cute.
Geek boner. Oh, boy. You're like...
And I came over and like made her day and like introduced myself. Yeah, you can follow me on Snapchat.
Oh, you did. That's your community service for the week.
Made some high school chicks.
Anthony's like, as soon as you're 18, though.
Hit me up.
Get your hand off my penis!
Oh, no, the other way around. I'm sorry. Not the opposite of what he just said. Look, that's the show, gang. Thanks for hanging out. Ruggs, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Really Rugboy, where I'll be insulting Dan Slott daily.
If you daily Dan Slott
No more
insults.
Godzilla debates?
No, I won them.
You won.
Oh.
Of course.
Well, I mean, like, look, the jury's out. Yeah, we still have to do is Godzilla. You haven't seen the
I gotta
Godzilla.
see
Imran,
the
you gotta find me
goddamn
a-
movie. I will find the movie somewhere. Look, thanks for listening. We appreciate every second you have us in your ear holes. This is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Make sure you tell a friend. Spread the geekery. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll catch you next time.
Ah, yes. I see that you know your judo well.
Who cares? A jock said that. Go stroke a barbell. Wowie zowie!
Oh, shit.